And please remember to subscribe to both our YouTube and Facebook pages at The OneMic Show. And then follow us on Instagram at OneMic Show. We are also taking live calls. And the number to call, 202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak to save the number. Now, later tonight, we'll talk about the Lawrence Olum Foundation that is helping nurture and grow youth sporting talent through education in Kenya. So I want you to stay tuned for that. Na bila kusahau, tapokea mziki toka DJ wetu machachari mleta habari DJ OmoshFaya, na tutadunda kule viwanjani na Micah jezi yake nambari 7 mgongoni akituletea habari za michezo. Na moja kwa moja toka Kilimanjaro Studios ni mimi mtangazaji na mwanahabari wako mpendwa Ali Badawy. Kwetu wananiita mteule na wengine mniite mjukuu wa Masai, because I'm Kenyan by blood, American by design, Masai by choice. Sichagui, sikagui, na sibagui. Karibuni.
Now, let's talk politics.
Now, this hour we'll actually be speaking to Lawrence Olum, the first Kenyan to roster in the U.S. Major League Soccer. He'll be telling us about his journey from Nairobi to how he made it to the pros. He'll also be talking to parents on how to groom children that are talented in sports, so I want you to stay tuned for that. And I'm your co-host and producer, Ali Badawy. It's Friday the 14th of April, and we're streaming live from Kilimanjaro Studios outside Washington, D.C. Now, please remember to subscribe to our OneMic Show YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at OneMic Show. On panel with me tonight is Mr. Micah Makawa. Our sports anchor Micah will be joining us via Zoom. We have another special guest in the studio. He's going to introduce himself shortly. And our resident DJ is none other than OmoshFaya, who will be on the decks. And we are going to get started right away today. We have so much to cover. Now, with soccer being the most popular sport in Kenya, the dream of playing professionally abroad has occupied the minds of many through generations. This dream, however, eluded many talented players over the years for various reasons. Now, tonight, we'll be talking to retired professional player Lawrence Olum, who defied odds and became the first Kenyan to play in America's Major League Soccer. Before joining the MLS, Olum spent 4 years playing college soccer at Missouri Baptist University, where he was recently inducted into the Hall of Fame as the most decorated athlete in the program's history. He then made his professional debut in the United Soccer League, where he played for various teams before his 2011 MLS debut with Sporting Kansas City. Now, Lawrence went on to win a title in 2014 and got to meet the then U.S. President Barack Obama at the White House during the victory tour. Now, he also got to play for Kenya's national team, Harambee Stars, and also went to play for a different MLS side, the Portland Timbers. And he further played in the USL before retirement. Lawrence currently lives in Missouri, where he coaches USL side St. Charles FC. And nataka kukaribisha sana. Lawrence, karibu sana to the OneMic Show. Can you hear us?
You guys clearly. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Asante sana, Lawrence. And how's it going on the side of the country where you're in? Is it Missouri or is it Kansas or is it both? Those two places confuse the hell out of me.
Actually, I'm in St. Louis, Missouri right now.
Okay.
So, deep in the middle of Missouri.
Okay, all right. Asante sana. So we want you to get started by maybe just telling us where it all got started. Where were you born and raised, and at what point in your life did it hit you that you wanted to play soccer as a career?
I was born and raised in Nairobi, Kenya, Pale Embakasi.
Okay.
My mother worked for Kenya Pipeline Company, and my dad used to work for Kenya Posta. So they were both volleyball players that played for the national team.
Okay.
So by way of family, I also played volleyball. But you know how it is in Kenya. Kids get to play by themselves, unorganized football or soccer, as you can say right now. And we just found ourselves playing, man. And it so happened that, you know, even when we were playing as a kid, you know, the game doesn't start until you show up. They'll be like, "Oh, we're waiting for Lawrence to show up, then we can start playing." You know.
Okay.
So kind of like that happened, and then I went to school at Catholic Parochial.
Okay.
From standard 1 to standard 4, and that is what we would on lunch break on those pavements. we would just kick a ball out, and there would be, 50 kids playing the same ball, and the best player kept the ball the longest.
Okay.
So by the time lunch break iko inaisha, I had touched the ball the most than everybody else, and that's kind of how I knew I was decent enough at soccer, not to be on the pro level, but you know how it is back then. Back in the 90s, sports was not considered a business or a venture that you go make money with. It was, in Kenya especially, looking at my parents, it was a way of getting a job. You're good at sports, you get hired by a corporation like Pipeline, who are known for volleyball. So my mother played for them, Kenya Posta, who my dad played for. So it was a means to get into a job. So growing up on that, it was kind of hard to say that you want to be you want to be a pro.
That's very interesting, Lawrence, because you are very unique in the sense that you had two parents who were playing sports, because for a majority of us, like sports wasn't looked at anything by our parents as something that could get you somewhere. And it's interesting that you say that your parents played volleyball as a means towards getting a job. So when we hear those teams, Kenya Pipeline, Posta, KCB, so those players are actually employed by those teams. Is that correct?
That is correct. So the way it is, coming off of high school back then, a team likes you. They'd be like, "Oh, come in, play for us for about 2, 3, 4 years as we try to find you a spot in the office or in the corporation." So that's how they got jobs, to be honest. And it was a means to an end. So me growing up, I already had that thing like, all right, so you can actually do sports, but what you're looking for is something else. So that's kind of how I can't say I was told, but it was the examples I saw. So all my dad's friends were playing volleyball, same thing. What do Alifanya Posta? My mom's friends, all of them worked for Pipeline. So it's just kind of what we knew.
Wow, like right now I feel like we need to get your dad and mom in a separate interview.
Yes.
Because that in itself is just a very compelling story.
Na walete zile tracksuits za Kenya. Unajua zile tracksuits za Kenya watu wa volleyball, muulize Lawrence alikuwa nazo kama 16 of them, different tracksuits. You see?
Zingine ni fupi za watu, zingine ni kubwa za
mbuzi. Micah, ongea tunakusikia.
Micah.
No. I wanted to say what Lawrence is actually saying, it's something that najua nyinyi watu mlisomea Nairobi, but sisi watu tulisomea Western. It was a known fact, you would hear even their students who they were so good at soccer, wanaambiwa, teachers would let them get by, wanasema huyu ako na kazi already. Already unapata timu kama Miasi ishaanza kumrecruit, Utalii ishaanza kumrecruit, inaanza kumchezesha. Waso Abake, if you remember, Ulinzi that's how most people got into the military, through Bake, Ulinzi, rugby, and then kulikuwa na KPA. KPA is another company that does give jobs based on sport, especially for the basketball teams, both the men and women. You kuna kitu white card, alisomka white card ile KPA ilikuwa 6 months on, 6 months off, a semi-permanent employee. So the 6 months off, you're supposed to be playing sports, 6 months on, you're supposed to be working. So it was something that was obviously not in a Julicana, but it was known if you're good at sports and you come from a specific area, most likely you'll get a job. Kinamumia Sugar, Chemelil, all those most of the employees are actually people who came into the sports system. KBL and Farmers Choice used to do that. Now Utalii College. Back to you, Lawrence.
Okay, asante sana Micah. This is actually some very good information that we are getting that I think a lot of Kenyans don't even know about, where sports was being looked at as a means towards an end. When you went to ambao who were just raised in Nairobi,
au kwenda shule East London. Ungeenda shule East London ungejua.
Maybe
awani wase wa Nairobi West.
No, me I'm telling you at hizo stories za tracks tunafikiri nilijuaje.
Awani wase wa Nairobi West.
And then
the cool kids.
And I like the fact that these blind spots are coming out. These blind spots are coming out because we really didn't know. We would see those teams, KCB, Kenya Pipeline, KPA.
MOW, Barclay, companies. When you saw those
Barclays, Barclays.
Rizzo, all those chaps, they all worked.
KQ also had a very good soccer team before Wakulepel.
Yeah, and then hapa I also wanna kuna wasikilizaji hapa who already tuned in. Sleodwar, karibu sana. Angie YC, karibu. This is Kisa Soze, karibu. And then I see
Kiza Soze.
anasema Kaiser.
Kaiser
Soze. Okay, Kaiser Soze.
Hey.
Okay.
Yeah, from a movie. It's from a movie. We'll tell you another day.
Sawa sawa. Hapa Nduku anasema footwork lazima ukwe on point juu mambo itachemka. Nisikue sud, nimesikia hiyo word iko trademarked. Okay. All right. This is and also Stephen JJ, karibu sana. Now I want to come back to you, Lawrence. You talked about playing ball in your youth. Parental involvement. I know you said your parents were already playing sports, so that was unusual. That was not for most people.
Yeah.
Was not for most households. What is it that a parent right now in Kenya who has a child who's talented? What is it that they need to pay attention to engage you at Kenya first because bado hujakuja US, you're still in Kenya. Like what is it that you want this parent to know? Because what we already know is that parents will generally not encourage their kids to think of that as what might get them to the promised land in the future. So Lawrence.
So actually now it's changing. Like you can tell parents now, they've seen what sports can do. Now, I'm saying parents like my age now, our age rather.
Yeah.
So we already know and we're exposed to what sports can do. 20 years ago, most parents was like,
no,
unacheza, unaenda kuchafuka. Like that is just, you're wasting time. You should read books, do that, So even me as a kid, at some point, my parents were like, all right, usicheze sana, just make sure vitabu is also, one could not fail. So from a young age with me and them, the deal was, as long as you do well in school, you can play all you want. So izoma, during the holidays, watu walikuwa wanaenda tuition nini, they're like, if you pass, come out and play. And I would travel with them, like, for example, they would have like Kekoso games with Posta. I would travel and go see like the sports culture in Kenya back in the day. And as a kid, like my dad used to play for the national team. My mom played for the national team. Like,
wow.
Allah?
Oh yeah.
I told you about those tracksuits. Trust me, he has a closet.
Yeah, your dad and mom have a spot booked on the OneMic show in future, but yeah, continue, Lawrence.
And if they're listening.
Yeah, so they had already been to White House, Kenya,
State House.
So, and it was looking back, it was a challenge. You'd be like, Lawrence, have you been to the State House? Have you met the president? And to me, it was my parents can both attest. One time, niliambia, the jerseys that you guys wear, I'll wear a bigger one. As a kid, you're thinking like, but I think once you start manifesting that stuff around you and you're around that culture, even when small opportunities come up, you kind of steer towards them. And that's kind of how I got into football and sports in general. So when I was doing it, I wasn't just doing it for fun. I was doing it to try to be better than both of my parents.
Okay.
If that kind of makes sense.
All right. So let's fast forward Kidogo, Lawrence. How did you get...
Ali, before you go there.
Yeah.
Lawrence, so was this a culture in the home? Did your other siblings, they also... do they also play sports?
One and only kid, man.
Okay.
See?
Okay.
That's something I just found out.
Okay. New information.
Did you know that?
Now I know.
Okay.
I knew that a minute ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so let's fast forward Kidogo. How did you get scouted to come play college in the US? Because like it was very unusual, like especially at that
Ali nikupate kidogo. kuna part moja ya story yake unaruka na hiyo swali.
Okay.
Lawrence, what was your journey? As in, you've told us until where you class 4 you realized, okay, I was good at this. Now, what was your journey like on playing youth soccer in Kenya, especially now that you've moved from playing with that paper ball, you're going to organize football, right? Organized football. Did you go through any under 18 and the 20s, and the 30s team, and then any local estate teams? Because I can say, like for me, mine was more in the Impala leagues, and then kutoka Impala leagues nikaenda Maisa. From Maisa went to Nairobi, the Nairobi County League with Sakayonso. Alafu nikachana na mpira nikaconcentrate na rugby. So what was your journey?
My journey was, so after class 4, ile umanga kidogo, I was sent to St. Mary's Masocho in Kisii. So I went to boarding school. So
ulikuwa kichwa ngumu kama Kisii? Ulikuwa na tuko na Kisii kwa studio, kwa hivyo chunga sana.
Yeah, so
Gake.
I went there and it's kind of the first place we played on grass. Imagine, nitoka Nairobi nikaenda kucheza ball Kisii, nikakutana na nyasi. And I was like, all right, so at least we had a goalpost we were playing with. Now inflated balls. It was one ball though.
Yeah,
between 400 students. Na mimi hapo ni standard 5, I'm playing against standard 8. Unajua watu wa Nairobi mnajifanya unapigwa viatu huko. So
unapigwa maklach.
It was mbaya sana.
Like a kiwi.
So it just, to me now looking back, it was playing rec because there was no organization. It was just, if you're good enough, you play. And I did that. Nikamaliza primary, nikaenda Chemelil Academy. Micah, you spoke about Chemelil Sugar Company. By the time I was in Form 2, they already were like, all right, you're coming to play for the company team. My parents said would never happen because they were thinking of other things at that point. So credit to everything. My soccer journey was just, I don't want to say it was sheer luck, because looking back now, the amount of time I spent on the fields playing with my friends, making sure my grades were okay or good enough to allow my parents to, let me play when other kids were not playing. It was all in preparation for, this one moment that it so happened in beginning of 2003. I want to give credits to people like Coach John Bobo Yugi. I think he was one of the pioneers of getting, students to come to the U.S. And at that point, he had this team in conjunction with Mayor Joe Cage for Nairobi City Council, U18. And the idea was to have an exchange program with the city of Denver. So in 2003, after I'd finished my Form 4, we had this thing where there was a group of kids of about 25 exchange program with the city of Denver, and we were coming to play teams in Denver. But in the back of our heads, this was our one-way trip out of Kenya. Like, tell your parents kwaheri, kila kitu ilikuwa imejipa. Can you hear me?
Tunasikiza.
Yeah, but let me get this straight.
You're paying attention.
Yeah,
You're paying attention.
but let me get this
interesting
straight.
journey.
So you came to Denver. You did not get you were not recruited on a scholarship from Kenya. So you came.
The story gets better.
Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's continue. Let's continue.
Yeah. So we've been training for about 7 months. So from the beginning of 2003, January, back around August, we've been training every day. This is the first time I can credit my coaches. I don't know if you guys know the name Sunguti.
Yes, he was playing for Harambee Stars.
At back, so he was the first guy who actually. I'm 18 at this point. First guy to give me structure. Like, Lawrence, this is how midfielder plays. This is how center back plays. I mean, as much as I was watching,
is this Maurice Sunguti?
Yeah, Ni George Sunguti, the older one. FC Kitambo.
Yeah.
He works for City Council.
Wacha kwanza ni waringio Kakamega High School alumni yao.
Yes.
I swear,
That's it.
this
So
guy.
he's the first guy at 18, 19 who actually gave me structure. In high school, my English teacher who loves football, he's the one who's trying to tell you, this is how we'll play. So 2 weeks to Denver trip. This is in maybe, I want to say, in June. 2 weeks we are supposed to go to Denver. So we all know the story in Kenyan, whatever. 2 weeks to the day, we are seeing different players coming in.
Wow. Okay.
What? And you've been training for 7 months.
Wow. Okay.
Tumeletewa watu hapo, we are told like, okay, these are the guys who are going. And I want to say this. Coach Bob, alisema, who are these? Aliuliza, who are these guys? They have never come to training. But unajua tu siasa ya Nairobi. Joa Ketch ni waziwani. So watu wote waziwani lazima wafanye nini? Waende. Alikataa. Akasema, if these guys who've been training for 7 months are not going, this trip is
cancelled.
It's done.
It won't happen.
So my mother, who's been ameshakuwa inaitwaje, kijikakamua for the last 7 months, fair daily, lunch, nini, uende mazoezi. Anajua July, my son is leaving.
Yes. For
2 weeks to that time, anaambiwa, trip is done.
Had you secured passport by then and everything?
I'd said bye to everybody.
No, but you had your passport, documents, all those things were set.
Like we had been told that this was the plan.
This is it.
So
yes,
this is it. Stay by. We are going one way. Like tukifika huko mitini.
Na ushapeana maalbum zako, umepeana cassette tape, kila kitu. Marege, madam zote, umepeana.
Hata girlfriend ishamki.
Ai.
Okay.
Hey, Gave.
That's a good one. You are focused.
In the one-way ticket, Gave, out.
No, but from what we had been told, like, yes, this is your chance to go. Ukifika huko mngangane.
Okay.
You know? So, 2 weeks tunafaa kuenda, trip is cancelled. Sasa ndio nakwambia hapa opportunity ikipatikana, it gets the people who are ready. Man, within those 2 weeks, Coach Bob come to the whole team. Akasema, okay, the trip is done, blah, 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 but I have these opportunities na scholarships. First question, nani amemaliza form 4? Tulikuwa watukaa 40, so there was 40 of us. So who's done their high school? Kainua mkono, maybe like 20 people. Nani alipata C+ and above? Group ikashuka tukabaki kama watu 8. Nani alipata zingine tukiendelea? Tukabaki kama 4 people.
Wow.
Next question was, have you sat for your SATs? At this point, I didn't even know what SAT is.
Tough. Unafikiri ni kiti?
Sikuwa najua hiyo ni nini.
Yeah.
But akauliza like, so how did you do in school? Nini. Luckily, there was a test coming in like, I want to say 2 weeks.
Okay.
So tukaambiwa afanyeni hivi, nyie ndeni mjaribu. Nilipata pia kitabu hatukuwa vibaya. Like I said, hii kukuwa mzuri na opportunity kikupata. We went and did our ACTs without hizo coaching.
You didn't prep or anything
by
for
the
the
time
ACT?
we were getting our, no. By the time we were getting, this is me and my friend Anaito Hesbon. He'll probably be watching this tomorrow. Sayana Lal. We got results that said we passed.
Wow.
In 4 days, nilikuwa US.
Wow. That is, I
From
mean,
the,
Iyo ni Mungu.
yeah.
wow.
Iyo ni Mungu. I don't know what you guys say. Iyo ni Mungu.
That is so epic. And that's the reason why we love these conversations, because even with all the research that we did for this interview,
It's not anywhere.
My thinking was, you played in Nairobi, you got spotted, you got a scholarship from there, things were easy, ukaenda embassy and ukakam tu hapa, ukaingia.
Hiyo ni movie
Yeah.
The movie.
No, movie.
The movie we described.
No, movie actually is what Lawrence experienced. You know, like Iopo may come back at 2 weeks. That's like a tragedy. You know, like you've been training for 7 months, and then 2 weeks to the event.
Stopped.
You know, like
stopped.
you've sold everything. You know, like you've even dumped your girlfriend. You've given her out to someone else.
Wait, don't say dump.
Yeah, yeah, you've given her out. You've given her away. Yeah, you've given her away to a friend. Yeah.
No, he said he was going to come back.
No. Amewekwa on loan.
Ameko on loan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
Ndio hiyo sasa. Una manage.
managing
okay.
my challenges.
Okay. Now, with all this happening, did you have a plan B in case US did not work out? What was your plan B?
If the Denver trip didn't work.
If the Denver trip didn't work out.
So, if the Denver trip didn't work out, I was going to go to university because I had good grades to go.
Okay.
So we were going back to that line of, see, your parents are working for Kenya Pipeline, Kenya Posta.
Yeah.
You're good at sports. Go to university, and then as you do all that, we will find a way of getting you job into this. Kenya Pipeline.
Understood.
That was number 2.
Understood.
Okay.
You
All
know?
right.
So that was our. But the Denver trip though, it was make or break because how many people do you know have in Bakassi, and we trained at City Stadium. So City Stadium was
every day.
Every day. Like this was my first time in a professional environment. Like we're playing at a stadium. I have a coach. I'm expected to show up 1 hour before practice.
Correct.
So, and every day it's a competition. Like we're competing. There was like 40 of us for 25 spots. And you don't know those 25 until the last day. So you couldn't afford to miss. So mimi na my mother pamoja hivi. Saa zingine matatu yeye anapanda, mimi naenda na, you know, it was just sacrifice.
If you didn't make that trip, I think your mom was going to beat you and the coach. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah.
That's a lot of sacrifice.
It was do or die.
Wow.
It was do or die. Like when they say don't put all your eggs in one basket, tulikuwa tunaweka in one basket.
Wow.
These are those
So it'll be banda za Bahamas na kutambua.
Kabisa.
Mandazi
I think niko na kitabu bado huko.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hapa Steven Bati anauliza, is Ali Badawy really fasting? Anaangusha vitu zingine hapo, my girlfriend tena. Mimi ndo nilisema. That wasn't me who said. That was hiyo ni story ya Lawrence. Before
anaweka nini?
hiyo ni story ya Lawrence before he came here. So this is his story.
Ali was just reading back what had been laid on paper.
Yes, I was just confirming. but very interesting. So plan B ilikuwa kwenda Campo in case but you never had a chance to play like any kind of professional ball in Kenya, like any club football or anything of that sort. You never got a chance to do that.
I maybe have trained with Kenya Pipeline football, maybe once or twice.
Okay,
that was it.
You know,
because at this point, kuanzia to January, everything was done with City Council because
of the trip.
That was the trip, man.
So this trip, we want to say it's equivalent of, because a lot of people came under Tom Munyama basketball tournament. So this was kind of like the Tom Munyama for soccer.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I would say that. This was like an exchange program.
It was an exchange program.
An exchange where I think, was the plan that folks from Denver would also come to Kenya?
Seriously, all we knew, we were leaving Kenya and going. Now, whatever happened after hiyo was up to you.
Mulikuwa mnajuani mnaenda tu hivyo
kind. Like sister cities. I know Denver is Nairobi sister
Understood.
City,
Okay.
Like
okay.
that.
So they have now.
Which other city? Newark, New Jersey, sister cities with each other city in Kenya. There's a program that are run like this, and it's usually run by the city council. It was being run by the city council. I think it's being run by the county government, because there was a time one of the governors actually had an event in Denver in regards to that, them being sister cities.
Okay, all right. This is so interesting. I want to remind the listeners that you're tuned into the OneMic show, and I'm your co-host and producer, Ali Badawy. We are talking to Lawrence Olum, the first Kenyan to roster in the U.S. Major League Soccer. He's currently the head coach of U.S. Soccer League side St. Charles FC in Missouri. Now, Lawrence also runs the Lawrence Olum Foundation that helps nurture and grow sporting talents in Kenya through education. We'll soon be talking about Lawrence in the Hall of Fame, so I want you to stay tuned for that. But Lawrence, kwanza nataka, I want us to, to talk about the transition from playing street football in Kenya, in Nairobi, to being in Missouri Baptist University on a soccer scholarship. Just tell us about that transition, how it was, and just how you were able to adjust to that, Lawrence.
It was actually, I want to say it was a good experience, because when I came here, I met my coach here, who's the head coach now at Akron University, Jared Embick. He was the guy who introduced me to, when I came to the US. The biggest surprise was playing on turf. I'd never seen a surface that smooth. So even if it was not to stew, not even the football. The football we knew we could play.
Yeah.
But the facilities, man. Like, we rolled up at the place in Eto'o. Now it's called Worldwide Tech here in St. Louis. Like 10 fields. We're like, where do you see 10 fields in one place?
Wow. Okay.
So those were the things that were shocking. The ability to play Nini. It was more for us. The physical part was there. We could run. We could pass it, but I think our biggest challenge was the tactical part.
Okay.
Because in Kenya, when you're playing in the street, it's just street ball. It's more skill that you have, which is not a bad thing. But, yeah. So the difference came in when now you put in a team structure. What do you do with that? All that skill that you have, and that's where I think most of our Kenyan soccer players, that's where we fail. Not because we don't have skill, is when we're put in structures like this and you're expected to do one or two things on a team. So even when I came, I was the least recruited player on my team at Missouri Baptist. I was the least recruited because I had never played in Nairobi. Nobody knew about me. But once we came here and the page was fresh and the coach was looking at everybody differently, they're like, all right, this is our guy. And I don't think I ever missed a game at Mobile.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's interesting. Omanwa.
Yeah.
Umekuwa ukisikiza conversation.
I'm just fascinated, dude. I mean, hearing your story is reminiscent to what a lot of people... No, okay, let me restate. Not a lot of people know, and especially when it comes to sports. Alafu, just to be where you are right now, dude, I'm just stoked to even be talking to you, you know, especially me being I coach my kids rec team.
You're a youth coach, boss.
Yeah. So it's just Vulomesema, like, I think the shock factor, especially when it comes to people who come from Mtaani to the States, just to see the facilities, it just blows people, you know. It just blows, and I've seen that a lot. A lot of kids wanakuja hapo wanaona, wow, yani kuna mafi, and like my neighborhood, there's like 4 or 5 fields za ball, but you never see anybody using them. Lakini home mazee watu wamengangana huko kwa simiti, watu wamengangana kwa barabara
everywhere.
Yeah. You know, so it's not that we lack it's not like we lack the kids to the skills. It's just that facilities they are so lacking mtaani, you know, and just seeing you here testament. I'm actually going to be showing one of my sons, you know, this video. Like, it just shows how far somebody can go if you put that will into it. Effort.
Yeah.
Both. You have to have the will to put in the effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's if I may ask a question.
Yes.
Sasa umetoka Embakasi. Umeland. Sasa Kingozo na communication ilikuwa aje? I'm sure huko wara wow, you know,
dime dollar.
No, but so I'll talk about this now that like when you have a vision.
Yes.
Now you let it like manifest. Even from a kid, you're like, one day tutaenda huko. So what do you start doing? You start listening to their music, their rap, their shows. Unaangalia, not because for anything. You're already there. Ni physically tu ndio bado hujafika. So thank God nilienda shule mzuri. Kizungu was not an issue.
Yeah.
So even coming here, yes, they would ask me like, what did you say 4 times? But at least I knew I was speaking English.
Yeah. Correct.
Wow. You know, and
you know what I mean?
And you know, it's interesting when you talk about.
Yeah.
Boss. He's put in the years now. He's put in the years now, man. We should have caught him back then when he was still going shramb.
No, but you know when he talks about the focus of wanting to come here.
Yes.
You know, people had very different focus. Unaona saa kama Lawrence, yeye alikuwa na focus ya ball. So he was doing all these other things, consuming American content, but focusing that, you know, like he'll possibly be coming here for sports. You know, watu wengine saa kama kina me, I had a very different vision of the US.
You are focusing on soda ya Magadi.
I had a very different focus, you know, like izile videos like in Jay-Z.
Snoop
You know,
Dogg
like
and
Jay-Z featuring R. Kelly, Fiesta. Unaona weko hapo kwa pool nini. Me that you know, like and I'm being very honest, me that was my vision. You know, like when I was coming, that's gonna be me. That's me there.
in that pool. DMX Rough Rider.
Yeah, vitu kama hizo hapo. That was, let me tell you, me, I'm being very honest.
Oh, it is true.
Me, I'm being very honest. That was my vision. That's where I was seeing myself.
Watu wa Nairobi West Villa wagana down smooth.
That's where I was seeing myself.
Hardcore sign.
But it's very interesting to see that someone like Lawrence had a different kind of vision. And then, you know, it's interesting that America is not known for soccer. You know,
correct.
and that's why I want to come to you, Lawrence, on these programs, you know, like for kids in Kenya, because it seems, the way you're saying, it seems like these programs have been there. You know, like this Nairobi City Council employees, Kina Mayor Joa Ketch, knew about these programs. And a lot of people came under these programs. I first heard about these programs in the United States when people were telling me about them. Are these programs still there? And maybe if you have a kid who's talented in Kenya, like, is there anywhere they can go to see if they could get, you know, like a scholarship to come and play in the US? Lawrence.
Man, nowadays these programs are everywhere. The problem is, what's the end, you know, like the guys who are having these programs, what's their end goal? Okay. Some are doing it for business.
Yeah.
Some are doing it for the well of for the community. Right. It just depends. But now people even going to Spain. People are going to, you know, different countries to play ball.
Correct.
Or sports.
Yeah.
It just depends.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because you sometimes hear of players from, you know, like places like Lamu. You know, like this is someone who's not even known within the Kenyan footballing structure, but is doing so well in some random European country,
Switzerland,
or in some place. So that's very interesting. I think, you know, like we later on, you know, like maybe are gonna compile, you know, like programs that are available, especially for parents who have talented kids and they don't know, you know, like what to do with them back home.
Ali, another thing, we have Lumesema, like you hear these random European countries. Remember that there are Kenyans who have first generation kids over there. So napata ndio the ones. Unaona Premier League. I don't know if it was Wolves Zamagan ilikuwa there's a kid Oluoch or something.
I think it was Everton. If I'm not wrong, but
you know. So there all these kids who are first generation wherever they are, and the parents realized hapa hivi mtu yanaweza pata campaign to do something or become somebody, and they start putting them through academies. You know, and I think that's what we lack at home. I think we started all this conversation. Like at home, our parents never used to see sports as a means to be something that can help you in school.
Yeah.
You know, they don't realize that teamwork, especially being in a team, you know, your
Team
teamwork,
environment.
Yeah, it helps kids. It helps kids, you know, when it comes to leadership. You know, Mtoyi learns how to, you know, if I'm a defender, I have to talk to my other defenders.
Yep.
You know, that's what we don't realize, especially when we're growing up.
But you know, I can't really blame our parents, because I think our parents were also looking at the people who are playing this game and what has come out of them.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very
You know, they were
Right,
looking
right,
at
right.
outcomes, you know,
Very true.
and it was very rare, you know, like at that particular time, to see, you know, like people who've been playing this game,
Yeah.
you know, like prosper. So I think the parents were coming from, you know, like maybe there was an ignorance about what this could potentially bring, but at the same time, they are also trying to look out for
But
the children.
Very, very true.
Also, let's look at it from this angle. The thing is that our parents also seeing this professional sports as a new thing as it was coming out, and also the structures that were put in the country were not structures that allowed development of sports,
Yeah.
and making it easy for parents to support why their kids need to have time to go to sports. So in European countries, academies are free. You just take your kid to academy. It's part of the school program. It's embedded into the school program. So that is why you always find these countries are small, but they're turning out talent and talent and talent after talent after talent.
Yeah.
So even when refugee parents go there or immigrant parents go there, and your kid finishes classes, he has to go to an academy to play, and that's how talent is discovered. And then they nurture it. And when they discover that there's talent in that kid, they take the responsibility of nurturing that kid through the systems.
Right.
In other countries, like in America, it costs you $8,000 a year to pay for your kid to go to an academy. So most people don't pay that. It's too expensive. That's why academies in America don't produce the same way academies in Europe do. And a country like Kenya, academies are a new thing right now. But as Lawrence has said, it's a for-profit thing, because somebody has to run this. There are those academies which are in conjunction with other teams or other academies outside of in Europe or in Asia that finance them, and then they in turn go and look for talent for them, other scouting business and network. But the government has to be willing to make it easy for such academies to thrive, for grassroots to grow. You have to have, in England, they have a league for grassroots, like under 5 kids national league that is funded by the FA and it's run by them. So there's that chance of development. So it's the same thing. If we want to develop sports in Kenya, we'll have to do such actions like that. So as much as parents need to allow their kids to play, but make it easier for the parents to do that.
Wow, Micah. I mean, I think that's very compelling, what you're saying. And now just piggybacking on what Micah is saying, back to you, Lawrence. The Lawrence Olum Foundation, which you founded in 2017, aims to identify, nurture, and grow youth sporting talent through education in Kenya, which is quite interesting. You know, like nurturing talent through education, which is, I think, something very unique. I want you to tell us a bit about the foundation and also talk about how sports can be integrated as part of the Kenya education curriculum. We know that the CBC issues going on right now. The curriculum is being changed, but I'm not hearing a lot about sports being integrated as part of the curriculum, just like we have music in the curriculum, we have the arts in the curriculum, and we also have religion in the curriculum, but I've not heard about sports. Lawrence, talk to us about this.
So the way that came about was I could only speak about what I did and my experiences. And it's always been a thing saying that my case was very rare. It so happened that I was at the right place at the right time and did the right thing for these things to happen. So the whole foundation was about creating more of these opportunities, in a sense that we go find kids who are talented, for example, and then do they appreciate education and all that, and if can they be helped. So it was not inventing something new. It's just creating more opportunities for people like me, because I think my case was one. If I could do that for 10 people, that's a bigger number than just myself. And that's kind of where we started. And it's what we've been doing. It didn't matter which sport. It could be basketball, it could be volleyball, it could be football, it could be track. If you did it with the type of connections we have here now in the US, anything is possible, man. But the kid has to be prepared and ready for it.
Okay, but about and I know this is maybe a question that's beyond your pay grade. Integrating the curriculum, the Kenyan curriculum, because I think this is happening in other countries. And when you think of Kenya is a heavily sporting country. In all different kinds of fields. There's athletics, rugby, soccer, whatever sport you think of. Do you think there's any way in which we can and I know this is one of those things that we have to be creative about. Is there any way in which we can push government or whoever is responsible to push sports into the curriculum from when kids are in first grade?
Actually, those programs are there. Unakumbuka Sports Day.
Yeah.
So it got more serious when we in high school.
Yeah.
It got more serious, and then you'd have nationals, provincials, Nini. Those programs are still there, but I think the structure of it is kind of losing. That's where we lose talent, in the sense that, for example, Kakamega is playing. It's in a Western province, Western. Our scouting only goes to see the two teams in the final, for example. Yet there was other players, Uko Chini, districts who never made it, but because there was maybe one or two good players, but their team was not good enough. And we never get to see those guys. So that's where scouting comes in. Like, it doesn't matter what game you go watch. If there's people who can go watch those bad teams, but you cannot miss one or two good players and then move those to another group. And then I think that's how they do it in Europe and all that, where they go, they'll find kids who are playing pickup. Somebody's watching, but they're watching with the intention of, if I see something good, I'm taking them somewhere else. So the government, for example, by just having those sports days and games and all that, that's their part. Now, as a culture, as a federation of football, maybe in Kenya, that is when maybe those grassroots coach that now are getting to do those coaching courses and all that, whoever's on the ground, not necessarily I'm a tumor, but if you're watching, anytime you see a talented kid, you'll be like, oh, he's nice. Maybe how can I send him to whoever, Coach X, who's at a higher level than me, and then Coach X moves them up. That is the only way we could do it, I think.
Okay.
Let me say this. I think kuna kitu moja si usemaga, like, if management doesn't support an idea, there's nowhere that idea won't go anywhere. It won't
succeed,
you know? So I think in especially in Kenya, what we need, we have the infrastructure. Vile boss amesema, there is all these sports days, all this, but the mindset of the people who are up there is just, those are the ones who, it's like your support is not there. And if the support is not there, it's almost like this thing, it just doesn't go anywhere. Watu watacheza mcheze, and at the end of the day, boom, watu wameshia. I mean, we have, what is that dude who KFF chairman?
Nick Mwendo.
No. Kuna ule mwingine.
Sam Nyamoya.
Yeah. That dude has been there since I was a kid. But
Sini Wenyu, he's not your uncle.
I gotta take that bullet.
Hey, true story.
Yeah.
True story. I went to school with this kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
St. Mary's Mosocha.
Yeah.
I know him.
But was he one of those kids who was brought ile time kulikuwa na the new squad that's going to the US after you guys had been.
That was actually going to be my
No, he had
was
already got to Stato. He had already got to Stato by then.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so.
yeah. Hawa ni wale masafaras.
Like, does he remember the guys or the people who replaced them after 7 months of training?
Yeah, the people who replaced them.
Yes.
Who are those guys?
Yeah,
I
you want to
don't
know.
They didn't know them. They didn't know.
No, he doesn't. I'm sure he knew.
We know them.
You know them.
I'm not gonna put any names.
Okay.
They came in.
Yeah. But anyway, let's go.
We still, imagine we all still friends because even for them that was their way to come here.
Yeah.
It was an opportunity.
Later, like this is an opportunity. Will you say no?
Okay.
won't.
Let's go through some comments. People have been commenting here, while we're talking.
Hapa mtandao imewaka.
Yeah, let me start with Stephen J. Jerry said, I played basketball for Highway Seco. We beat Ofafa in 97, so we had to play Braeburn. The basketball court indoors. Sisi tumezoea outdoors. I blew my kneecap on the second drive.
How do you blow your kneecap?
Amezoea outdoors.
Kwa mbao.
Unajua outdoors lazima ile nini ni grip tayari.
Kuna breaks.
No, breaks ni simiti. Simiti ni breaks.
No, but unajua kiatu iko na breaks.
Friction.
Zile viatu zake zilikuwa slide kwa nini? Kwa hiyo
hazikuwa built for indoor.
No.
Okay. And then let me see. I think Steven Bati anasema, I will show my son this video. He has suddenly loved soccer and plays recreational, hoping to play for his middle school and probably high school. That's very good.
Yeah,
and it's very interesting that we are seeing this new generation of kids.
Yeah.
They're loving soccer. There was a time when kids in America would only watch basketball or football or these quintessential American sports. But now soccer is...
Can I just interject?
Yeah, sure.
I'll tell you. Quick. When me and Kina and Mike came to the States, way back.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
When the dollar was 30 bob.
15 bob.
Eh?
Let me tell you.
alikuja na meli
hata atakusema hiyo.
Yaani wako na jokes
tusema ati nilikujaga huku hivi na
Panam Airlines. Panam Airlines.
It's slave ships.
No, let me tell you, the good thing with Stato follows the money. Right? Tukuja Stato never used to show a World Cup soccer.
Yeah.
Ilikuwa na show only utapata, Kipasas, you'll see
you go to
Spanish channel.
Yeah.
Slansha uko Bolti, Slansha.
Yeah. So you had to go somewhere specific just to watch soccer. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they realized, Allah,
we're missing out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All of a sudden, even like now we on my rec team, on my rec league, they're having spring soccer. So I'm telling this dude who has a son on my team, he's like, spring soccer. It's like, me when I was growing up, we never used to have spring soccer.
It didn't
this
exist.
is something new.
Yeah.
Like we had, I think, 135 kids.
Huh?
Yeah, 135 kids.
Wow.
Him is like, this is just something.
And what
else.
age group is this?
This is U12.
Wow. Now let me say go ahead.
On top of that, mpaka nasemaje, his kid used to love, hii spring ilikuwa ni kucheza baseball. Mtoi hataki kucheza baseball. He wants to go play soccer.
Yes, because soccer now is the thing.
It's cool to play soccer now.
Yeah.
And then you see also the media. The media has also adapted to that. I have a cousin who came from London, and they were telling me that we get more games than they do in London, because anasema in London, anasema in London you're gonna get, or rather anywhere in England, you're gonna get the games that the local team is playing.
Yeah, local.
Yeah.
Yes.
But sasa hapa you can watch one game on USA, another one on NBC,
Peacock,
another one on Peacock. Peacock, I don't know has how many different channels. You can literally watch 4 different games at the same time. Micah.
Unajua in UK, home games, 3 p.m. home games are never shown on TV. If you have a home game and it's at 3 p.m., that it's never broadcasted on TV. It's only you go to the stadium.
Or you go, or do you go to a local bar or something?
It's not even in pubs. They have a blackout. It's called
for the local,
to force people to go.
To buy the tickets. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Alafu, you have to buy you have to buy Sky for some games, and then you have to buy BT for some other games. And then they also have Amazon, which when the games are in Amazon, Sky and BT don't have the games.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you buy cable, you get the whole package. Of it. Like you get Peacock and you get NBC, USA. So you get the whole
you have
thing
options.
And you get the PPM games.
You get everything.
So
piggyback them.
Yeah, we get everything.
Mm-hmm. You get everything. And then here are some more comments coming in. Mwanaidi Shaban says David Kenga should be next year. David Kenga is also a Kenyan who came to play soccer in the US around the same time that Lawrence Olum came in. We're going to try to find David Kenga.
He's actually doing very good things, man. He's doing very good things.
All right. So that's good, and I think we need to document.
David Kenga.
Yeah. We need to document all this.
No, we have to.
Because our mainstream media is not going to do it.
No.
Yeah. So I think we need to do it. For our own sake and for the sake, because I know kids are going to be listening to this. For the next generation. Yeah. Yes. And this next generation, I think these are the ones who are going to get America in its full glory. Right. When us guys came. We had a lot of other issues, going on back home. You have to work and go to school at the same time. Yeah. Those who are playing sports are trying to maintain their sports scholarships. They don't know what's going to happen to them.
And those sports scholarships were very few for Africa, even.
Yes, they were very few.
Very, very little. It's more of the Latinos who are getting those sports scholarships. And then, of course, they beat us by being here. So, for instance, take a team like, say, UMD. You'd probably find like 3 Africans.
Yes.
There.
You find a lot of Gonzalez and Ramirez
there. 2
there.
West Africans and maybe 1, if might be an East African.
But I think America is coming to understand the talent that's loaded in Africa. That's the reason why NBA discovered this a very long time ago. And we've seen the products. We've seen the products, in the league right now, the likes of Joel Embiid, Pascal Siakam.
Yeah.
These are products of NBA Africa. Yeah. It's quite interesting that the NFL is also going to Africa right now. They're going to Kenya.
They're in Kenya right now, right?
They're
in Kenya right now.
And I think in Kenya they're hunting the rugby players.
Yes.
They're hunting the rugby players because I think they've realized there's some skills in rugby that can translate well into the NFL. Wacha nisome ma comments hapa kidogo, watu wasianze kunichinja, sijasoma comments zao. Washeke anasema in Kenya parents are mainly concentrated in education. Sports and the arts are not taken seriously, but again we say that's changing. And then Washeke anasema parents want kids to be doctors, bankers, lawyers, etc. And then, wow, easy comments ziko jingi sana. I don't know that we can read all of them.
It's okay, just read them.
Let me see. Steven Bati hapa anasema hao ndio walikuwa wanaishi Karen, the late Ojwang and Mama Kayai waliishi akina Peter Dao among others. I'm not sure
what. That's from a previous comment.
It's from a previous comment. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let me see what else do we have here. Steven anasema tena high schools in Kenya used to recruit from the grassroots. Shule za Western had that going sometime in the 80s. They recruited kids from Nairobi. Now here's something I'm going to say, very controversial. Lawrence nisikize. And nimechapwa mangoto previously for saying this. And this is when it comes to recruitment for soccer in Kenya. For a very long time, the focus in recruitment was in Nairobi, maybe some parts of Western because the schools were playing there, and Nyanza. That was the focus.
Yeah.
That was the focus. But let me say something. Let me say something real quick. When it comes to a sport like rugby, it's understandable. There's certain parts of Kenya that have the DNA because of the strength to play rugby. That's understandable. Soccer is one of the few games in the world where there's no specific DNA. You could be tall, you could be short, you could be strong, endurance. You could be skinny, there's all kinds of good soccer players in all these different shapes and sizes. So I felt like for a very long time, there were certain parts of Kenya that were totally neglected. Like hakuna mtu anajua kucheza ball huku. You would never hear you would never hear. So Coast at some point there used to be some recruitment in Coast,
very
but
few.
But it got stopped.
Specific. It's very specific schools and places that they would go to.
They would go to, but it stopped. And I'll tell you, Mika, we are gonna get a chance to talk. I know we disagree on this, but I'm just saying, you know, like there's so much talent that just disappeared just because there was never any recruiting. There was never anyone who discovered the talent, and that's why you see there's kids from Lamu right now who are playing in France who are never seen by any structure that we had in Kenya, which I think is very sad.
You don't have to go far. We have Lawrence Olum.
Lawrence Olum is an example. He was actually in Nairobi, and he was missed out. So you imagine someone who's playing.
He was missed out because remember, when he was training for 7 months, some other guys were brought.
Jemo. Let me say this. Umesema, you know, mostly it was Western, Nyanza, and Nairobi.
Nairobi, yes.
Now, one thing, I'll go on a tangent kidogo. I went, my C's was Kitares at Kakamega High. This was in early 90s. And I went to Kakamega High's soccer game, or Lukwana game. Me, I have never, mpaka that point, I'd never seen rabid fans. And this was a high school.
Yeah.
And the guys who were playing there, ni watu wanaenda kuchezea AFC.
Yes.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So, now, in that mindset, right? Remember, home in the 80s, 90s, you know, ilikuwaga mostly, the teams that even now you remember mostly, ilikuwaga ni AFC, Gor Mahia, maybe utasikia Shabana, you know,
Breweries maybe.
Ata Breweries came in a bit later.
No. Reunion.
Rivertex.
Panpepa.
Yeah. What do all these
companies,
these teams have in common? Mostly were Western, Nyanza. You know, and then kunele ni kama it's the same thing, ni kama stereotype, right? Ni kama tunajua Wakale, they run fast. And that's what they do.
Running has a DNA. So let's running has a DNA.
I truly understand that. But lakini nasemaje ile unasema ni kama tunajua Wakales just run. So kutafuta mtu anakimbia and Wakale. Now it's almost like that's how we were conditioned. Unajua tu mostly kutaka watu wa ball go to Western and Nyanza. And
then real quick before Lawrence chimes in, remember that team that train had Fabish, you know, like brought out.
Yeah.
He did one quick simple thing before, you know, just when he came in. He disbanded the team that was there previously. I think he retained maybe only one or two players. Yeah. And then he went and got he did not only a nationwide recruiting, he went to other places.
Right.
There was a guy called Suleiman Rashid, who at that time was playing his ball in Dubai. Ena total walikuwa nauliza, Selemani sasa ni nani huyu hapa amekuja kucheza ball? People were not even associating, you know, someone like that playing for Harambee Stars. But I think Mtukamaren had Fabish already understood that there was a problem, you know, like when it came, and that's a time when you would hear names like Muiruri, playing for the national team.
Open-minded. Yeah, but then okay, Ali, ugoja kwanza. Unajua hapa
Amerika.
Ameongea sana. Okay. Like umetumia majina za mwisho kuchagua vile waswali kwa nacheza ball.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Ngoja hold up.
Yeah.
Haya.
Mimi zile siku nilicheza ball Western.
Yeah.
But nimetrain ball kuanzia kama mimi ni mtoi Nairobi all my life. Nilienda Western kadi kwa high school. 90% 80% ya timu yetu ya Kakamega High tulikuwa natoka Nairobi. Alafu tulikuwa na watu wa Western wana make the 10%, alafu hiyo 10% nyingine ilikuwa mixed all over. Now in school our team, like that was considered the first team, we were like 50 people. Lakini bado kulikuwa na team zingine zenye zinafaa kuwa feeder pale mtu azatoka kuje kwa wengine 50 tatu. Wewe mwenye amesema sister yake alikuwa Kitares Catch. Muulize tulikuwa na grao ngapi za ball? Tulikuwa na grao 7 za mpira. like train. We had the facilities to train, and hiyo ni Kakamega High. Utenda Kamsinga, uende Bungoma, uende Musingu, uende Chava, uende nini. They have the same facilities, numbers. Now, vile Lawrence alisema, kuna ile divisional ilikuwa inaanza. Sisi tulikuwa tunacheza divisional yetu tulikuwa tunacheza na kuna shule ilikuwa inaitwa Kivaiwa. Tulikuwa tunacheza nao divisionals. Kivaiwa walikuwa wanatuchapa saa zingine province finals. But most of the time between sisi na Musingu tukiwatoa, Kivaiwa haonekani hata province, but Kivaiwa pia ulikuwa unapata ni timu imejaa 80% tena watu wametoka wapi? Nairobi. Ni timu iko na maplayer wengi. Now, ukienda Coast, mlikuwa na shule mbili pekee zenye zilikuwa na hizo facilities. Mombasa High na ingine inaitwaje?
Gani Serani?
Ilikuwa ni
Hamisi.
Alina Disiran ama?
Ala zilikuwa Alina, ilikuwa ni Hamisi. Hamisi
ndio walikuwa watu wa kucheza ball pia.
Na Kwale hizo ndio shule tatu, lakini kwa Hamisi na Mombasa High ndio ilikuwa zinasumbuana. Ukiangalia pia Mombasa High na Hamisi zilikuwa na a majority of the players ni watu wametoka Western na Nyanza. Hakukuwa watu indigenous to the coast. Ilikuwa ni watu wa kukamu. So hata ukikuja ukipata hizi shule zingine, ukipata watu wengine indigenously from the coast na kulikuwa na maplayer wakali sana, ulikuwa ukipata namba yao bado itakuwa less. Kwa sababu gani? Hizi shule zingine za huku kando kando hiyo hawaja invest hiyo infrastructure. Western ukienda shule zote na Nyanza ziko na viwanja 2 ama 3. Shule that is one of the most important things. Walikuwa wanaangalia viwanja za mpira. They had to make sure kuna hiyo facilities ya kucheza ball. Ball ilikuwa like ilikuwa ni kama birthright. Ilikuwa huko unaona vile kuna crazy support for high school football.
Texas.
It's the same over there. Watu wana support team ya region yao pale wametoka. So ball ilikuwa ni kitu hiyo ni area ball imeshughulikiwa. John Momweruri alikuwa Nairobi, amereizwa Nairobi, ametoka Nairobi, amecheza ball yake wapi? Kakamega na Kisii.
Kisii. Hata Mulama Sepe Kisii.
Mulama pia Kakamega na Kisii High. Unaona wote ni watu wa Nairobi. Mimi nikicheza ball mara ya kwanza nikienda trials za Maisa. Age group yangu tulikuwa watu 600. Mnachujwa na kukimbia hivi kwa mlima juu, loading, ukihema unatoka, mnapoa 5 minutes na kuna speed mnapoa. Hivyo ndo mnachujwa, hata uchuji na talent yako. Unachujwa kwanza na kuhema vile utahema. By the time ifike place yenye talent imefika, wamechujwa. Na vile Lawrence amesema ni ukweli, tulikuwa tunataka camp ya Coca-Cola under 17. Siku ya game watu wengine ndo wanakaa. Nyinyi mmeshinda cup the whole time, wengine mtu wa politician anakuja ama nini. Hii ilikuwa kawaida kwa kulikuwa na doi na lipo ama nini. Kulikuwa na corruption. But hizi regions zenye unasema watu wachaguliwangi ball, kulikuwa na hiyo infrastructure wameka kwa ball. Ni kama tu vile ukienda Rift Valley. Rift Valley utaenda hata Primo. Uwanja wao imemakiwa hivi na track ya kukimbia. Wanaanza kukimbia kani wadogo, wana train wao. Hivyo ndo it's just that hiyo infrastructure as much as tunasema gava haikuweka, but the schooling system and the regions over there have really taken into investing in those games. Culture yao.
Okay, wacha tumsikie Lawrence sasa.
The reason why rugby goes strong Western, the same thing. Colonials walipeleka huko. Shule kaki na Bungoma High zilikuwa Bungoma High was the first school to play rugby in Kenya. So hizi ni games zenye zilikam zikaingia huko zikalaiwa na structures zimekuwa. That is why kuna hiyo deficiency. Yes, the scouting system is not good as it's supposed to be, but hizi region si ati tu ni assumption ama nini.
Okay,
wale watu
kwa
wamemeni ball na wamegrow na ball wakicheza ball.
Sawa, asante Mika. Wacha tumsikie Lawrence on his story.
But the one thing we cannot forget is Kenya, we are fairly new into this world of sports. I'll give you an example. US in 96, how many teams did they have in 96? 96 is what? Maybe how many years ago?
27.
It's less than 30.
27.
Simple. Yeah. Imagine in 30 years, saizi, work on almost 25 teams, on stadiums, academies, mini infrastructure in 30 years. So it always comes down to leadership na visionary, like leadership ileko. Yep. But the thing is, in 20 years, like our parents were not thinking, my son can do sports. We always thinking daktari, lawyer, nini. That's what we. But now we've come to a point where it should change. It should. Can it change? Yes, of course. But the people that are still there, wanafikiria kama 1996.
Okay.
No, and that's where it's kind of with. Man, I'm telling you, there's so many kids out here with, like you said, first generation kids in your Kwapa State, Samanini. They could change the face of football. In an instant.
Okay.
Mina kwambia leo, I think just with the friends that I know, I could make up a team of about 25 kids. Waende wasumbue wa Kenya, watu waulize au ni wakina nani?
These are Kenyan kids you're talking about.
First
Kenyan
generation.
Kids,
Okay.
But nobody wants to hear ati kuna watu wengine are doing it better. Me, I'll give you an example. For the many years that I played in the US, walikuwa nasema America hawajui ball. Yet, this is the same country that has been to the World Cup more than Kenya. They have a league better than Kenya. They have everything better than Kenya. But a Kenyan will tell you, US
America hawajui ball.
Na ataka hapo, argue na wewe. Mwambie hebu nionyeshe examples that you guys have. Gor Mahia musema leo watakuja hapa Amerika wacheze na timu ya America MLS, hata kona watapata.
Wow. I hope hawajakusikia.
I'm not.
I hope hawajakusikia.
Ni ukweli, like the way football is going right now, it's not only a skill level. Like there's so many things that it's a science. It's a science now. Like we have fitness coaches and anakuambia, okay, in training today, we always see those guys wamevaa chips for vest. Anakuambia, hey, you have not hit your highest whatever. You need to hit this before. Wapi Kenya are they doing that right now?
Okay.
Pesa imekulwa.
Okay. So we're gonna get back to Kenyan ball, but real quick, I just wanted us to not miss this point because recently you got inducted into the MBU Spartans Hall of Fame, and on the induction it said that you are a two-time NAIA All-American in 2003 and 2006 and a four-time All-AMC First Team selection. Now, the induction further says that in 2005, you are a key contributor to a Spartan team that won its first ever American Midwest Conference title, leading to the highest NAIA ranking in the program, in the program's history at number 12, and an undefeated record of AMC play with just 5 goals allowed. Now, to crown it all, the Hall of Fame induction also said that you are the most decorated athlete in the MBU men's soccer program's history. Tuanze kumpigia makofi. I mean, this is just so amazing.
Ali, I thought it was you just ongezering and just adding kilometrics.
No, this is not me. Just anybody mwenye nafikira ni mimi nimemwongezea, nimempaka mafuta.
Tupige makofi tena.
Just Google Lawrence Olum Hall of Fame. He is the best. He is the best. Ni sawa ki blush, but he's the best athlete in the program's history. Lawrence, when ulipofika huko MBU Marakwa first, is this the vision you had, or is this just something that happened without you realizing that it's happening?
I mean, even looking at right now, in hindsight, with the way everything happened, you'd be like, okay. But even when we got there, you could sense there was something different when we showed up at the school. Even I remember this, my coach Rio Jared Embick at that point. Even when I came to the US, it was never like you want to be a pro. Education, we just want to have something better than what we came from. But when we got here, through guidance, because he told me one time, off the line, in MBA Lawrence, I think you have something different that you can try to follow through if you want to. You know, too. And now with my, I guess from my mentality back then, you'd be like, oh, you think so? I'm a try it as much as I can and see where it goes. So that meant playing in the extra league in the summer of 2006. I played for a PTL team. which is now USL, the one that I'm coaching. I played for a team like that, and that was the stepping stone that set me different from everybody else that I was playing on my team, because Missouri Baptist was an NAIA school. Nobody cares about them as much. But now I went to the USL league where, like, okay, there's other people. Like, I'm playing with D1 kids. I'm playing with kids from different parts of the world. And then you get there, you be like, oh, shit, I'm actually doing okay.
Yeah.
Then step on to the next one. And it so happened that Portland or Liniona, and they wanted me, and the rest is history, man.
Can I ask?
Sure, go ahead.
Olum, it's just fascinating, honestly. Our kids are spoiled, and I'm saying that in a good way. In a good way, because they get to see what we never had preview. No, just look on football made in West Germany or Germany.
Yeah, football made in Germany. Yeah. Cartoon.
Yeah, or once, or Sato Usiku once in a while or whatever.
Yeah.
Now we have kids who literally anywhere which way they turn, they
Spoiled
can see.
for choice.
Yeah, one is on soccer, EPL. They can see
highlights.
Yeah, so to them, soccer, and I've seen it. Like, we started practice on Monday. Mtoi, I think, aliletwa na mbuyi wake, Mtoi all decked out in Barcelona, whatever. So I'm like, oh yeah, okay. This kid looks like he can
looks
do
the
something.
part. He looks the part.
Yeah. Mtoi, unampatia hivi ball. Lord Jesus.
Ni muhadhara.
He can't, and then another kid came, decked out well, and then he wants to keep sliding. Because
I may watch YouTube videos.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right?
Okay. YouTube
You see,
videos. Yeah.
So my question is, my son will be watching this show. I just want you to give a window, give us an idea, or give us a picture of how do you train? How do you, like, now when you're coaching, how do you structure training? How does it start? What do you have to go through to actually get to a point now you are selecting a kid or kids to be in a team? What do they have to put in?
Hey, boss, you need to pay for that question.
So to me, I mean, it's the culture here in America is very different, because most of the kids go pay to play. Yeah. I pay X amount. I'm guaranteed 30 minutes every weekend. And as a coach, you can't do anything because I shall lipa.
Yeah.
But it's changing now. Because
huyu Jemo, no, because because see hivyo, he's a coach.
Yes.
So I've gone to see the Suns play, and after the game, because he's very animated, but he's very serious. He's like encouraging, like, where fanya hivi, you run. He's trying to organize the kids.
Correct.
And then, like, if a kid is not performing, you're like, okay, where Rudy, you come out here, go back in there, brings in somebody. So after the game is over, a parent will come and ask him,
Boss.
so why did you sit my child?
Boss.
Yeah.
So when Lawrence talked about pay to play,
yes,
nikaanza kukumbuka, nikaanza kucheka. That is why.
And the
So Lawrence, that is why I was laughing, because of this guy.
And funny enough, the dad, mtoi yuko na ADHD. Mtoi cannot to help himself.
Okay.
He can't even stand still. So unamwambia, hey, I need you to jamaa anaangalia huko anatafuta mama yake yuko wapi. I'm like, what in the world?
But anyway. Budaka anakuja. But sawa, so that's why I was laughing, Lawrence, because of whom said nimeona
okay.
I've experienced
but now,
as a supporting uncle,
changing.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's changing now with these MLS teams now. If you're good enough, your kid is not paying. Because they've already seen what other countries are doing now, and I say, okay, if that is what is working in the world today, then we need to go there.
Yeah.
Like in Cecil, back to Kenya, we still want to do the same things we were doing in 1990, in 2023.
Long ball.
It's not the same, man. Like ball imekosha all that.
Kenya kuna academy moja inaitwa True Talents of Africa. You can look for it on its social media pages, if there are some guys who are doing some good work now, man, the way they've structured their age groups and the way they train those kids, and then they've partnered with various scouting networks from the US. They work with, they even had somebody from the MLS go there and work with them. So Zico, it just needs people to sit down and do the work. And when you do the work, vile Lawrence alisema, ni rahisi ukikuwa na watu 30 pamoja wenye ni wako talented than kufanya mtu wako anazunguka in different 30 areas kutafuta hizo talent. So we just have to change how we think, how we see game, how we see sports, how we see arts. These are businesses, multi-billion-dollar businesses. Huyu jamaa huyu racist ameuza team leo 6 billion, right? The most expensive team to be sold in the sports franchise to be sold. Right? Wanaitwaga JD team yoko kwenu Commandos.
Let's go back to Lawrence. Lawrence hapa was tuachana story ya Commanders. Lawrence was making a point.
Unajua hiyo ni team ya Ali.
Lawrence, give us a window to a day. How do you start your day? You know, how do you get your dudes coming in? How do you start practice? What do they have to do? You know, what data points do they have to hit? Because as you said, a lot of people don't really understand what they put on.
Your bra.
And we went to, I think it was an All Blacks game. And we were watching I think it's an Asteto. This is way back.
Last year.
Yeah, was
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah,
I think so.
And then I say, now Ali Chapa State almost 110 to something.
Yeah, well, Chapa State deadly.
It was Mother than
Yeah,
it was at FedEx Field.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then funny enough, when the game was over, they didn't go back to the changing rooms. Wakanza kukimbia masuicide. So I'm like, that's really strange. So I was talking to a buddy of mine, ndiye akaanza kuniexplain like there are certain data points you have to hit. If you don't during the game, you have to hit them before ujaingia shower. So maybe Olum.
Also, this is part of your to get you to that peak.
Yes.
Wow.
So Olum, probably give us when do you sasa.
Show us your ways, master. Show us your ways,
Sensei.
It also, for example, Kama football, it also depends on your position. Like there's specific things, like you said, there's specific things you have to hit because Washaku, they have a base for you and they have a goal for that position, what they're looking for in that position. So depending on the player, everything is customized to what you are.
Yeah.
You know, when you go see, for example, the US men's team, when they train, they have more staff than players.
Oh.
This is the
Stats.
fitness coach.
Yes.
This is the strengthening coach.
Yeah.
This is G9090.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, it's a science now.
Yeah.
Because you can't just hope to put 11 runners on the field with skill and think, oh, they're gonna win.
Yeah.
They're thinking, are they gonna last long? Are they able to play 3 games in 7 days? Like it's all a science now.
load balancing.
So vitu kama hizo, like all that stuff, even in college now, like you're thinking like, all right, they played on Saturday. They cannot do anything. How do you help them recover?
Bananas na maji.
Ile mambo ati unaenda Bama saa 10 na game ni 6, unakula ugali ni kama hakuna kesho, and then they expect you to perform at the highest level.
Yeah.
Those days are done, man.
Yeah.
We cannot. That's where we kind of sometimes fail. Not because that we don't know, we just choose not to.
Okay, and you know, it's interesting that you know, like there was a player, I think in the NBA, Tony Allen, who was talking about Hashim Thabit, and what made him, you know, like not sustain his career in the NBA. He was talking about a day when they were about less than 2 hours to play a game, and the guy had, you know, like I don't know, there was a burger or a hot dog, and the guy was asking him, yo, so unajua tuko na game, you're gonna eat that? And Thabit was like, mi niko sawa, you know. So I think he came with that you know, like with that mindset, and he did well in college. But now when he got to the pros, you know,
that
like
next
things got a
level,
bit rough.
boss, your next level,
things got a bit rough. Now, the other thing, Lawrence, like now transitioning to the pros from college, because this wasn't it wasn't a straight line like a lot of people maybe want to think. I mean, you did so well in college, so the assumption that it was a straight line. Tell us how that was for you. Did you get recruited because you already, like doing so well in college? Did you get recruited, or how did that work? How did you transition from college to the pros? Uliingia MLS straight ama kuliendaje hapo?
Because let me answer that, because I have a question for that. Go ahead.
No, even with all those doing well in college, like I said, Missouri Baptist is a very small school. Like nobody comes to look for players at Missouri Baptist. And that's why I did the summer league, which was the semi-pro. And even with that, I had to do a tryout.
Wow.
On a team. So we went on this USL combine. They call it a combine. So USL combine so now this is where the scouting comes in. All the kids that they thought they did well in the summer leagues would meet up in Tampa, Florida. And all the coaches of all these clubs come and sit and watch all of them play. And that's where I kind of was scouted by Portland Timbers.
Portland Timbers. At that time, Portland Timbers was not...
Was USL.
It was USL. It was not in the USL. MLS. So you went to the USL first before going to the MLS. I played for
3 years.
Portland for 2 years, 07, 08. Played for Minnesota 09, and then went and played for Austin FC, which is now Orlando City FC. And then Austin moved to Orlando. So I played USL 4 years. When we went to Orlando and Austin, the head coach is now the head coach at Minnesota United. We were balling. He went and picked all the best players in the USL and kind of put them on one team. And when that happened, all the MLS teams are like, all right, so which team is this? Who's this? Who's playing? By the time we were finishing in 11, 7 or 8 players on that team were all going to MLS.
Wow. So you're talking 4 years after college. You had still not made it to that. You had still not made it to the MLS.
Not yet.
Oh. Okay. Uno.
Now, so I'm laying the groundwork over here, not for beef. Hatuna beef, Lawrence. But I think it's something that I've experienced personally. So my nephew went to University of Maryland, D1. Shout out to Isaac. But prior to that, he had been recruited by, I think, St. Mary's up to Mount Airy, not far from here.
Mountain Mary's, the one near Frederick.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've been recruited and given everything.
Okay.
We'll pay for you, we'll full ride everything. But I think at that point in time, the idea and the notion and the picture that had been painted was, in order for you, if you want to play in the MLS, you have to go to a D1 school.
Okay.
You have to be in a D1 school, and not just any D1 school. There are tiers to the D1.
Yeah.
So you have Maryland, you've got, I think, Georgetown, Clemson. There are certain D1 schools that
they're top tiered.
They're top tiered.
Okay.
If you're in there and you perform,
then you could
that is your ticket to the MLS.
Okay.
So now, he goes in. Of course, he's facing challenges because he was not recruited by the head coach. It was an assistant head coach who brought him in. This assistant coach had actually gone to a tournament they had in Orlando, in Florida, and Kenya's team. He was the guy. He was like the cock. He was the cock that was making it tick. He was performing, tackling, setting people up. Like he was like a midfielder, but he had moved to play left back, right back. So anyway, he decides, you know what? He's gonna decline the St. Mary's offer because University of Maryland is an opening. He can go in. He's being brought in by the assistant coach. So anyway, he goes through the process. He goes through trying to make the roster. You can see that, like from training, the reports that he's giving you and everything. And at some point, if you guys remember, we even did a show because there were certain Kenyans who were drafted from D1 into the MLS.
To the MLS, yeah.
Micah. I can't remember. There were some few Kenyans that we actually did a report on.
Yeah.
We featured.
Mm-hmm.
But then it has been quiet. We haven't heard anything about those guys. Even their progress in the MLS, to be honest, like even Micah, drafted, never played, went to I think went second division. I don't even think he has played or even started. We don't even know where he is. So we started noticing a trend that, let's say, for example, guys drafted from University of Maryland, with lately, none of them really truly, they don't start, they don't play. Like you don't hear. Out of, in the last 3 or 4 years, I think there's one guy, Bender, and I think he plays for Charlotte, a new expansion team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And to a point where me and Isaac's dad were like, you know what? I think the D1, the idea for you to make it to, because Micah at one point in time was considered one of the best midfielders in the NCAA.
Yeah.
And him going now, he went number 2. People thought he was going to go number 1.
Number 1, yeah.
But he hasn't played. So I think there was this notion that in order for you to make it to the MLS, you had to go to
a D1 school.
A D1 school, which is not the case. Which for us put into question the recruiting process that the MLS has, because even if you go to a D1 school, you're really not going to make it. 2 years ago, a nondescript team won the NCAA men's soccer team, Marshall. And you look at those guys, most of those guys were not even local talent. These guys were foreigners. There's a guy from Germany, a guy from Brazil or whatever. So my question, to summarize, the notion, for me, I think, and Lawrence and Isaac, the notion and the idea that to make it to MLS, you have to go through D1, I think right now for me is a fallacy. You don't have to. So which puts into question how the recruitment process is to get the best talent to come to play into the MLS. Because me personally, my belief is, I think the best of the best that are recruited are the best of the best with money, not the best of the best with talent. Because if it's a pay to play, it's a pay to play type of situation. So if you don't have money, they're going to get the best of the best who can pay, not the best of the best who can play.
Acha tumsikie Lawrence.
Okay.
I'm long winged, but sorry.
Oh, sorry.
That was
the
like
D1
20
experience
questions.
only was good back then. Now it's not the same, man. Because now the way MLS is going, they're trying to compete against Mexico, against within the Central America.
Out of Canada.
Costa Rica.
They're trying to compete against them. So they realized, like, college kids are what, 21, 22?
Those are old.
In England,
Yeah.
in England, 21, 22,
That's
you
old.
know by the time you're 14,
Yeah.
you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
So are they really focused on it right now? To be honest, no, they're not. Because look at what MLS is doing right now. They're buying kids from Argentina. They're buying kids from Venezuela who are 14, 15, that they know can come in right now, play, and sell them. Miguel Almiron, one example. So the whole thinking of, I'm going to D1, I'm going to MLS, that is out, man. And that's just the reality. So when the coaches are coming in and telling kids, this is a key, yeah, you might get drafted. Yeah. But that does not guarantee that
you'll play.
I think
will set foot on the field.
Yeah.
I think they just borrowed a leaf from European teams and countries where we tend as supporters, as fans, we tend to have this emotional attachment to teams, but what we don't realize they are also a business. huge businesses. So Vlomesema Olum, like, you know, yeah, they'll bring these 14-year-old kids from Argentina or whatever. Wanajua, they will invest maybe $1 million, ama $2 million. This kid, if he pans out, watamuuza Europe for $40-50 million.
By the way, there's another caveat to that about, I think, and maybe Olum will explain it later, how if you're owned by the MLS, before they sell you, there are so many rights that are attached to you that before a team lets you go, like even Miguel, or let's say like there's this kid who plays for PFOC. Like he's talented, he's very good. But before you're released, it's like if you're an Adidas, if you're under that Adidas umbrella, and Olum will fafanua. If you are under the Adidas, because Adidas, if you're talented, you get brought in to the Adidas camp.
To their camp, yeah.
Right? So it's like they own your rights. So if
it's called Generation Adidas.
Yes. So if Ali he owns, you know, Arsenal, and he comes and he wants to career, there's gonna be a protracted
There's a contract that
you have to career, and it is very high. But MLS is gonna get it, and maybe the team that kid plays for, whatever.
Yeah, and I think they're protecting themselves. You know, like they developed a talent, you know, like, and they wanna get paid for it.
Sometimes they don't always develop the talent, and that's the problem.
But
you know, one thing is that the way American sports structures are structured is nobody ever makes a loss. Regardless of you winning or not winning, nobody makes a loss. At the end of the day, all those teams make money. It's a for-profit business. There's no relegation. There's not, like, you can perform badly, you know you won't be punished. You still have a chance to fix yourself and work out. Now, as Lawrence has said, they realize there is a more profitable way by player sales and also TV rights. If MLS can be able to go out of the country and it's competitive and it's bought in other countries, it means more money to their pocket. And the draft system right now doesn't work for the draft system doesn't work in soccer, as Lawrence said.
Yes.
21-year-old Bukayo Saka already in pro. Wewe bado kokole unatry kwenda ku make it, you will not be able to make it. So the soccer in America has reached a point whereby there is that confusion on how does it break out, how does it grow. MLS as the company is very profitable, all the members are profitable, they're making money, but then there's a change that needs to come on how soccer is run and that is one of the big fights that they're having right now, because there are those boys who are liking what they are, and there are those people like Kina Kroenke who have owned Arsenal and have seen how it is, and they also own MLS teams, and they're like, we can make more money, we need change over here.
But you remember when we started, somebody said kids are what? What's the word? Our watoto are pay to play. What did you call it, Mike?
Pay to play.
Yeah. What kids now are entitled, especially here in the US.
Yes.
Oh, Nijemo.
Spoiled.
Let's just be honest. The kids that do all this are entitled. When the culture is like that, definitely you'll get the players like, but I was drafted number 1. Why am I not getting a chance? Yes, you were drafted number 1, but you were not good enough. They don't understand that I wasn't good enough.
I think
they thought like, I'm drafted number 1, I'm gonna come in and play. No. Now they don't have time for that. You're 21, 22. They're selling you maybe at 24. So if you're coming in where in the NCAA you only train 4 months in a year, is not enough. Yet somebody else in Venezuela, Colombia is training 365 days. Jali, and I train every day. You cannot compete with them. And they realized I can buy them for cheap, buy them for $400,000 or $500,000, bring them here, 1-2 years, boom, gone. So the NCAA kids, Naio culture, I'm coming in, I was drafted number 1. The draft is for sure. Yes, does it help? Maybe, because you get 1 or 2. But now, the way they are in the last 5 years, I can tell you today, the kids who were drafted number 1 are nowhere in MLS in the last 5 years. Nowhere.
Wow, that's that
And
that's
and, and,
interesting.
and that
That's
should
some
be clear.
Scary stuff.
No, but you remember at some point we did a show where we highlighted Kenyan American kids who have been drafted, and one of them was actually like a center back. I think he was in San Diego as a team in California. Then we had Philip Mayaka, and then we had some
The
guys.
center back was Kibunguchi.
Kibunguchi,
Yes. You know, that one, you know, second round. So we were like, you know what, this is going to be good, because, you know, our expectation is once you're drafted, let's say first round, like, or second round, like, and in the MLS, at least at some point, because, you know, this is D1, this is the top notch.
Yeah.
But after, you know, my experience with my nephew, you know, it opened another lens, another portal, because I'm like, because even for him to play, this kid is on practice, he's going there during scrimmages or whatever, he's like either the best performing or he's one of the guys. In fact, the kids are coming to ask him, yo, why are you not playing? Why are you not starting? And that is some of the frustrations that my nephew was going through, because personally I believe that this coach, you know, full disclosure, I think, you know, he had some issues, because most of the players that he himself had recruited himself ended up either not playing or he's trying to shift them, but during the games they are messing up. They are not, you know, even you as a soccer, even you may not have, you may not be like Lawrence, but even you, at least when you watch a game, like, okay, anauza.
I think the NCAA system, the drafting system, you know, not only for soccer, you know, like Micah said, I think for soccer it's clearly not working. But I think even for other sports, you know, like they're realizing, maybe except for football, because there's limited places where you can go play American football. But even for basketball, you're noticing that these kids who are in high school who don't want to go through the NCAA, they have a system now. They have a team in the G League called Ignite. You know, this is for kids American kids who don't want to go play in Europe, but they still want to get drafted. So they get put into this team, and this team has been producing, you know, like some very top talent. You know, like in the NBA draft. And I think, you know, like this is just one of those things that America needs to review if they wanna if they're to compete with the European countries and with the South American countries. Soccer is a very different monster. Like someone said, you know, like Bukayo Saka, I mean, he's already a star. He's already a star at age 21. Sasa we uko college, you know, like
at 21. But he came in at 17.
Yeah.
Lakini, sometimes it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, you know.
Omosho's just
yeah, Mazepolo Omosho.
Omosho just
Now,
chilling.
because you have to remember, Steto, the idea of the draft has worked so well for them for other sports.
Yes.
Even now, what is it? A week and a half, we're about to have the NFL whatever draft.
It's very soon, man.
They're making money from it.
I know.
Making money, yeah.
Big
It's so
money.
dramatic.
You know, and you very well know the top 30 kids who will be picked, they'll be making money. They'll be starting somewhere.
Yeah.
They'll definitely be starting for a team somewhere. Now, when it comes to soccer, it's a whole different monster. Like now, because we are so used to this idea that if I was drafted,
Yeah.
number one, number whatever, I should be starting. Like soccer is a whole different. As I said, it's a whole different ball.
Yeah, you perform or you don't.
Yeah, and if you don't, you warm the bench.
Yes.
You know, unlike NFL, NBA, you know, even Major League actually, even the top prospects, they usually go to minor league. They play
Correct,
for a year or
yes.
two,
Mhm.
and
Before
then
they
they
come
come
up,
up.
yes.
Then they come, yeah.
You see, you know. So in hard, being in that mind frame, you're like, okay, I was drafted number such and such, I should be playing. It doesn't bode or work well for MLS.
Now, I'm sorry. I know. Okay, I have stories for days for this.
Make it short.
Yeah, 1
My
minute.
Yeah.
when Isaac was going to start his first year in college with the UMD, So there was this guy who was brought in, recruited, and given a full scholarship to UMD. Guy came straight from Japan, landed, and so I was talking with the dad, and the dad is all upset because Baba Hanya is like, he's all upset. He's like, yo, this is not fair. This guy is gonna have sijui whatever. Isaac, because I think he was in a league. He was still in there was a season that was going on for soccer. So by the time it was going to end, this guy would have had maybe 2-3 months advance
over
whatever
the
it
other
was
kids, yes.
over the other kids.
Yeah,
and
he's
he was
been
coming in
playing.
he was coming in as a left back. So I tell the guy, I'm like, boss, relax. If Isaac is as talented as he is and whatever, it doesn't matter. Even if the guy counts 6 months, that's fine. If Isaac goes there and he does his thing, displacement is going to happen. And if you're a coach, you'll know that this kid has got talent. This kid is true. So
Can I tell you something, man?
yes,
Yes, please. Yeah. Yeah, Katisha, your story. You tell us something.
It's outliers. It's the amount of hours you put. Because at some point, if I have 6 months advantage on you, for example, we all, because football, where it comes, it's athleticism, we both have it.
Yeah.
And then I have a 6 months advantage on you. It's big. That is not something you just can overcome like this. And the windows they have to perform this changes. So yes, Isaac is 6 months slower. But within that team and what the coach wants for that system to work, he's 6 months ahead of the other guy. So how does he catch up? And that is why, Ada Sisi Africa, when we come to the Europe and all that, why do we struggle? These guys have had 10 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
in front of them.
Yeah, playing the system.
So as much as we're athletic, we got the skill, we got this, they have 10 years. They're 10 years ahead of us. We cannot compete with them like that.
Yes.
Now let me finish, because the same guy who was brought in at that point in time never ever started for the team ever.
The one who was given a full ride.
The one was given a full ride. The guy was brought in. That guy never started a game. In fact, if anything, during scrimmages, this guy would be chomwad. So yes, he did not actually. He ended up putting himself in a transfer portal. Nakaenda.
Went
He
to another
never
school.
started.
So
Yeah.
this goes back to what Lawrence was saying. The being ahead in the system.
you can be ahead of the system. But
No. What I'm saying is that what is it?
He wasn't able to catch up.
Isaac was ahead in the UMD system.
No. Isaac was a freshman.
Yeah. Oh, he hadn't
was
played.
coming in. He hadn't played.
So we can just say this: that coach, that was bad recruiting, bad scouting, bad everything on the coach.
And
Not
by the way,
anybody else.
by the way, you know what? Finally, let me just wrap up. He's just a bad coach. This guy, he is a bad coach.
Okay.
He is.
All right. Now let's
And I know Lawrence.
There
knows
goes
it.
our sponsorship from UMD.
Yeah, it's okay.
no, let's take a different trajectory, because like time is running out na
Yeah,
tutaki
by the way.
kumweka
Tunaweza ongea
Lawrence
mpaka
hapa
kesho.
sana.
Wewe kwani nini? Si pia sisi tumefunga. Oh, sorry.
Amejipaka lianto. Kofiti yako sawa.
Now when we take a different twist, we go to your Harambee Stars call up. I believe that might have been around 2012. Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. Talk to us about this. And I think this was your first time, like now after being a pro in the US, now interacting with Kenyan professional. What differences did you see at that point about the differences between being a pro in the US and being a pro in Kenya? Because early in this interview, you mentioned that Gor Mahia might come here and they may never even get a corner trying to play against, like one of these teams out here.
Hapa ametuonea huyo jamaa.
Omosha
Of
Scott
course,
Field.
lazima Kaaroma TV
Aroma, yeah.
Huyu jamaa alifanya literature, the art and science of a good
Yeah.
storyteller.
But
Unaona?
to be honest,
Yeah.
when I went back, man, we are light years behind, man. Like light years. I can give you a story. One time Nilitwa, I was called to go play for Kenya in Sekafa, right? This is the tournament in December.
Comoros.
I'm sorry?
Was it Comoros?
No. This is way before. Hii ni ile bia inaitwaje ya South Africa. Ilikuwa inaitwaga Castle.
Castle, yeah.
Okay.
Castle, yeah. Yes. So I'd been called to go on that one. So we go there. It was 4 days of training. First day there was 3 players. Second day there was 4 players. I'm a 5. Third day there was 5. On the fourth and fifth day, nilichujwa kutoka kwa lineup. And there was only 5 players.
But
Wakanitoa, wakasema you didn't make the team.
Haujatosha mboga.
How did I not make the team?
and you're only 5.
There was only 5. There was only 5 of us. Unajua watu wameitwa kutoka. I was like,
Oh, so these are
it's
those
fine.
other guys. Those guys who are coming. Wale waliletwa kwa ndege.
Yeah. So I'm thinking,
unajua
all right,
hawa
so who
watu.
did you bring? Manze nilikuwa naangalia wale watu walileta. I was like, all right, just give me my passport. Wacha nirudi America.
So okay, where does the passport come in? I'm lost.
So passport
let's
is
give
like,
him a
so
chance to.
you give them your passport, so you go. They'll get you to go play in Tanzania. I think the tournament ilikuwa Uganda or something
Understood.
like that. So I'm gonna be, why are you guys holding my passport? Give it to me so I can go where I am actually wanted. Because how can you tell me in a camp of 5 players, at the end of the camp you'll have 20, and then I'm not there, said you didn't make the team. So then why do you even bring me?
Yeah.
If you knew I was not going to make the team. Fast forward. And this was done by a Kenyan coach. Fast forward, it's Coach Adel Amrush ndiye alinita for Comoros. He started calling me when he knew he was going to get the job. He called me like, Lawrence, you don't know who I am. I know who you are. And I know where you play. I know your league. I know everything about. I want you to come to play for Kenya. Foreigner, I've never heard him, but in kwa wanasemanga mcheza sijui tuzwa kwao.
Mcheza kwao tuzwa.
If we don't know you, if you don't see you struggle with us here, you don't know.
Yeah.
Wow.
You understand? That was it. If we don't see you struggle here, you're not good enough because we don't know who you are. But unless unacheza MLS, I mean unless unacheza Europe. Question, Wanyama anacheza wapi saizi?
MLS.
Hapa to Canada.
Nilianza kucheza MLS how many years before that?
Many years ago. 2011.
Kitambo sana.
Yes.
But now, since he's playing here, they're looking at MLS as like, so it's an actual league. Like, it was a league 10, 15 years ago. But you chose not to listen to that because according to your standards, which are very low, to be honest, in Kenya, you're saying American soccer is not better than Kenya. But until Wanyama now comes here, and now you'll be like, so it's actually a thing. Unaona sasa pale ilikuwa inaleta shida. And it was somebody else who was like, actually sat there and looked at whatever was happening. I was like, this is actually a very good league. Come play for us. And when I went there, it was like a walk in the park. Hata sikutoa jasho.
So Lawrence, I'm trying to understand something here. Because this is okay. This is very problematic. Like this is very problematic. If that's how players who are playing in other countries are being treated, like when they come back to play for the national team, I'm a bit concerned because if it was happening then, it probably might still be happening now.
It's probably worse now.
Of course, there's those. There are those leagues that are known that, of course, they will not do that for. But now, when you look at a player like Michael Olunga is playing in Qatar. And I think he's fairly known. Yeah,
let me throw a question to you.
Yeah.
How many goals is he scoring in Qatar? Too many.
Yes,
He's scoring a lot.
He's scoring a lot of goals.
You think he's going to have the same impact here in the MLS?
There's only one way to find out.
There's only one way to find out.
I don't think so.
Hook him up.
I don't think so.
Not.
I don't think so. I think the talent he's playing with is not
mediocre.
equally yoked.
So those are the things, but they would rather pick a player who's playing there, doing that, than an average player in the MLS. Who's been, say for example, who's been in there for like 10 years. You do not survive a league for 10 years if you're mediocre.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
That's true.
No,
You don't.
And is this issue only with MLS now as far as Harambee Stars is concerned, or there are other leagues where Kenyans are other good leagues where Kenyans are not being picked up because of the reputation that the league has in Kenya?
The supposed reputation.
I can only speak for MLS because this is the league that I played.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when we look at other leagues, say for example, somebody's playing in England, third division.
Yes.
Can you compare that? Not even second division, third division.
That's still very high level.
Would you
No, you
compare
cannot,
that to the KPL?
You cannot, because
no.
even
You
if
cannot.
you remember Kina Taiwo Otieno.
Yes, I remember.
What are the other one? The one Curtis, the one who played for Reading. Those yes, they never hit the first team, but this guy is playing for Reading. He's playing for Reading first team and second and the B team. They never got chances to play for Harambee Stars. They were never given those chances because you would see like Taiwo was called like how many times? 2 times, 3 times, and he was also called by a foreign coach.
Exactly.
In Germany, we have a lot of Kenyans who play in those leagues, in the lower leagues in Germany. They never called up. Across Europe, in Czech Republic, especially Scandinavian countries, where
Sweden.
Sweden,
where Origi was playing.
Norway.
There's so many Kenyans who play in their second or third division league, but they never called up. But as Lawrence amesema, wajua waonekani wajui, and then I guess it's poor scouting network na kujuana, cause moja Kenya Harambee wangani Harambee mtu lipa coach acheze Harambee ndo apate do.
Nakwambia kama sikuoni ukiteseka, sikurank. Lazima nikuone ukiteseka. So if your parent was born here and you never had to play in Mathare ama you never had to play in Oruma, somebody will come and tell you like, what are you talking about? Where do you born? Like, what do you mean CG born?
And you know, it's interesting you say that because this used to happen also within Nairobi. You know, like yani kama huku grow up mtaa fulani, it will be very hard for you to penetrate.
Yeah, to break.
If you grew up in Lavington,
Yeah.
hujui kucheza
Ama Nairobi West.
Lavington umeenda mbali.
Nairobi West.
Lavington umeenda mbali.
umeenda mbali.
No, even Nairobi West, think about it. You had very good players. We used to have Wechekup in Nairobi West, Madaraka. We used to have Wechekup. There were some very good players, but it would be very difficult kupenya hiyo
Huwezi
crowd.
penya. Msewa
Kupenya hiyo
South
crowd
pia
ya
huwezi penya.
Kothbiro.
Huwezi
Kupenya hiyo crowd
penya,
ya Kothbiro.
huwezi penya.
Ati wewe umetoka South Sea ulikuwa na by cools ukitoka shule na
Ziwa,
mabuis.
Shauri, Ofafa,
Yeah.
Maringo.
Ati Cools.
Yeah,
Hiyo
Cools
area,
na Mabui.
utaingia.
Yeah, you know, like it's
Unajua ilikuwa kwa sababu gani?
what was the reason?
Ilikuwa kwa sababu ukiangalia macoach manini vile nani amesema Olum alisema out in the show, most of the people who are in sports in Kenya walikuwa wanafanyia cooperation na walikuwa wameandika job, na hizo ma cooperation zote zilikuwa na mahao estate gani hizo, kina Baha, Uruma, Ziwa, Ololo, Bongo, nini. So utapata hao ndo walikama kwa makochi, na hao ndo walikuwa na running hizo matona na hizo manini, hao ndo walikuwa wanachagua watu. So ilikuwa pia ile kuchaguana na kujuana mtu wa mtaani, kulikuwa na ile mtaani ile like hii kuna mseni mnomo, utapata ni mnomo anatoka Buru lakini azichaguliwa juu tano ule ni babu ule atakuwa sawa.
Huo si wetu,
Ule atakuwa sawa, budaki anado.
Yeah.
Atakuwa sawa. So kulikuwa na hiyo mtaani mingi. Ndio inafanya hivyo.
True.
Hata sisi tulikuwa tunaambiwa, sisi tulikuwa tunatoka mababi tunaambiwa tujui ball mpaka tuki kwa kiwanja tuwapige 7-0. Ndio anakubalia mababi
mbaya.
Yeah.
Leo umebahatika.
Yeah, lakini acha nikuulize Lawrence, how are other African countries doing it? You know, like you have other African countries that are doing so well in ball, you know, like these West African countries, North African countries. What exactly, you know, like is it that we, you know,
that
like
they're doing, we're not doing.
That they're doing right, that we are failing to do? Because New Africa kama sisi. Because so it's not an African problem.
No, it's not even a North African thing, I'm a West African. But, you know, like us now, the way Kenya tunaangalia, we need to focus on grassroots. We need to focus on this and this and this. You know how expensive that is over time? If you look at if you look at all these other countries, want to focus on one thing. They'll be like, all right, we will focus on our national team, for one. And they put everything on the national team.
Yeah.
Training facility, nini. So whenever you get a kid, say me OneMic, one day your son wants to go play for Kenya. You see where he's going to train, you'll be like, okay, go train there.
Yeah.
Because it's at the same level as everybody else.
Europe.
So, and I say, like, I have a choice. I have a higher probability of playing for Kenya than playing for England. You know what? I'm going to go play for Kenya. Alafu, anafika pale anapata. The same things he would get in England, anapata pale Kenya, for example.
Yeah.
So that is 20-25 people that you can get. It is easier to do that than kusema we will start at under 10.
Right.
You know, and that is how the North Africa. Angalia Senegal. Senegal wametengeneza stadium ya national team inakaje.
Yeah.
I know.
You so look at Sadio Mane, you leave Bayern Munich, the stadium they have. Utaenda ucheze City Stadium.
No. That's true. That's true.
So what does Senegal do? They build them a stadium similar to Bayern Munich and tell the players, hey, this is what you get when you come home.
Facilities.
So what do you think what do you think these players are going to do? Who does not want to go play in front of their fans, of their family? Maybe my first time, it was the first time I think my dad ever saw me play professional in Kenya after 15 years.
Wow. Okay.
Who does not want that? But like we want to say, oh, let's start at U10,
Wacha niongeze point hapa kwa hii point yako. Kama mliona ile documentary ya FIFA, right?
Yeah.
Mnakumbuka when people are being asked for bribes, right? Kwa Afrika jamaa wa Kenya alitisha 1 million. Jamaa ilikuwa ni jamaa wa Cameroon na Senegal alitisha nini?
1.5 million. 1.5 million.
Right?
Walitisha nini? Walitisha investment kwa federation yao. Lakini wale wa Kenya walitisha 1 million wagawana wakule.
So imagine if you have a facility for the national team, right? Okay, this is for the national team. Don't you think the under 20s, under 19s can train there?
Yes, they can.
Yes, they can.
Yeah.
They can. So what does that do to the level of your game?
It ups the level.
Yeah.
Immediately. Immediate. Daniela, let's wait. Well, Kenya, you think they'll spend $10 million for U10s to play?
Unajua wakispend $10 million for the times to play, mtakuwa na watu wakali, lakini kama hawana outlet, like hawa watu kuna mahali wanafaa kuenda.
Yes.
Mnafaa kuwa na league sustainable. League inaweza cheza vizuri, inaweza kuwa na sustain hiyo chain ya production. Vile umesema national team, mnafaa kuwa na facilities za national team ambayo mnacheza fiti. Si ati mnafaa kutrain leo, mna game saa tu on Wednesday, Ruto ako na function, train study na anatumiwa. Alafu mnaenda kutrain kwa vumbi, like hiyo ni kweli. Mimi na McDo na miguu zangu sitakuja kuvunja ankle kwa kiwanja iko hivyo. Alafu nishindo kwa McDo.
And that is how we miss out on very good players.
Yeah, na ndo unaona, like places like Nyayo Stadium ni study a ball, but one day unakuta sijui majeshi wana machuko wanafanya mazoezi ya Madaraka Day, and then
maandamano, my friend.
watoto wanakuja kunini ku practice hapo pia, then hizi ma events sijui revival ama nini inafanywa
ule pastor
Bonke, Reinhard Bonke.
Hapana, wacha huyo.
Pastor Ruto.
Prophet
Pastor War.
Like but vile umesema Olum, like I remember World Cup ya Qatar. Something very interesting I heard they were talking about the national team ya Qatar. They were put together and they played together, I think, for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yes.
They played like a club.
Yeah, as a club.
Wanaenda
wanacheza huko wanapigana huko like a club, and it's a national team.
Saudi Arabia did the same thing too.
Yeah. And you can see, I mean, level yao, it really, really super.
Because then you know, and you're right, because I play for Vitambi, and over the years, the guys have been the same guys who we've been playing with. Right. And we have guys who range in very young and very old. But as you play together, you get to know your people.
gel,
And you know, okay, kama Omosh ako hapa na ball, ama nataka kucheza na Omosh ndiye anacheza striker.
Yeah.
Najua siwezi mpigia ball akimbie, na yuka kwa mguu yake. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you're not going to get that without gelling. You have to gel. And that's the key. Teams, it's a team sport. You have to gel. If you can't gel, it means nothing.
Yeah.
Individual talent is crap.
No,
But look at it like this. On these other teams, come as Spain, for example, Spain, their national team. If the player plays at Barcelona or plays at Real Madrid,
They know
plays
each
at
other.
Valencia, they get the same training, the facilities are the same, the experiences the same. Like, it's the same thing. So all they need is what? Maybe 2-3 weeks to play together and be like, all right, I know what he does. And if,
Yes.
But sisi, unacheza mtu ako Kariobangi, hata ujui facility, ujui hata litrain aje. Like, that's why I say for us to, our quickest fix would be put everything into the national team. Like, go crazy.
That makes sense.
Alafu, the players will not have an excuse.
And then
They have none.
unajua, like when you look at some of those European countries, for example, there's a certain character like you'll find that the Spanish team has. There's a certain character that the Italian team has. There's a certain character that Brazilians have. Brazilians, for example, we know they like attacking. Mtu anaweza kuwa number 3 defender huko, lakini unamkuta yuko huko mbele amekimbia anaenda kufunga. Yeah, and then the Italians, like they were known for defending.
Yeah.
So there are these philosophies that they grow up with that works well for them. Like when
identity.
The football has a certain identity. Now, if you ask me about the identity of, for example, Kenyan football, I don't know it. And is it something that can be built?
If you look at an example, look at England right now, right? England has been consistent in the past few years because of what they invented in St. George's. In St. George's, these kids are trained from when they're 10 up to under 21, then under 21 on India for a national team. That's why kina Bukayo Saka unaona ni mapro na wako 21 already. Like every year there's always a new kid that comes in. Bellingham, Nani. And when they come into that team is always flawless. It's the same. The same thing with Olum amesema Spain. Kina the younger generation, kina Javisai. All these kids, have come up together, like grow through stages. Hata current club is different.
Right.
It's the same nini inaingizwa
The culture within the country. Culture within the country.
Okay.
It's really to the head. Wako nayo, so wanakuwa nayo system. Sisi hatuna hiyo system already. So hatuna vile tutaanza. Sisi nakwanga ni ule mwenye atatokea labda najua atashine ndo ataingia saa hiyo.
Mwenye anajua coach.
Hiyo kampi vile umesikia Luma amesema kampi na watu 5, hata coach ana train nini sasa?
Maze, so now okay. Hapa comments zimejaa. Let me see. Wow, I don't even know where to start. Okay, of course, simulations for career. Louis C. Muya, Lawrence, can ball, and I mean basketball. We played pickup ball at Railways Club, and he gave me the business, a true athlete. I believe if he didn't play soccer, he could have played basketball or any other sport at a high level. I don't know if this is referring to this guy, but I could be wrong. That is you. OneMic. So Benja Nyoro says, OneMic, the MLS landscape is changing. Nowadays, clubs are pulling players straight from their youth academies. MLS next. The connection with college and draft is fading. Goes to what Lawrence was alluding to. Brown Sugar Sally Jones says, Minotis. The first time I met him, he was brought to come to play a friendly with us. Kenya team ladies Nyayo. Then we scratched on the same team intramurals at Mobap, and we won. The basket coach almost recruited him. I wonder who this is they're talking about. Mazeda, so
man.
That is you, sorry. Nakulenga, I just wanted to say something.
Wait, so ujama alikuwaga atrista nini? Sport ginene.
Ginene.
Atari.
Na si guok. Over here, karibu sana Nduku Ndamboki. Welcome, Daktari. Maybe the US can adapt the system of EPL and scout players and use NCAA players as homegrown talent on the team. Thoughts? Maybe you can comment on that, Lawrence. It's also Steven JJ says also work experience. Say, Olum, unajua story ya passport. Sisi wote we've gone through that. Yangu ilipotea airport ikapatikana after trip. Brown Sugar, Sally Jones me notice.
Kenya, man. Kenya is a country.
Watu wa Coast hata hawakupata chance ya Kenya team.
That's Don Omar.
Don Omar.
Yeah,
he's right.
Very true, Micah. Okay. But goodness, Jesus. Sleodo, they lived across Mamangina. Mom was Rwandese and dad was Scottish. I don't know who that is in reference to, but Uko South Sea. It was something about South Sea and South B. Facilities are Kenya, Nyayo police band messed up the field. And I think this is alluding to your point.
Yeah. Hey, mazezo malpractice.
Iko na mashimo, Kasarani players who complain kuhusu tough ati boots ukwama kwa nyasi.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
City Stadium maybe more than Gaifafa. So all
this is sad. This is very sad.
So I think the perspective is important, looking at and I am sure right now most guys right now are gonna go and Google Lawrence Olum. They're gonna try and find out who ni nani.
Yeah.
And then they look at how he has had a successful career. Stellar.
Yes. What did he tell us about the cups that he has won?
Where?
So
alisema nini juu hizo cups?
Except for one.
So here's the interesting thing about Lawrence Olum.
Yes.
Lawrence Olum has won, like the Major League Soccer title.
Yes.
And he met President Obama. This was the time when President Obama was still president, with Sporting Kansas City. In fact, Olum, just tell us about that experience of going to the White House. So easy teams MLS, just the same way NBA and NFL teams go to see the president, is the same way that MLS teams, when they win, also go to see the president.
And there's a picture of the team and Olum, kama center back ako pale nyuma. Pale Manu and a guard and a defend.
Yeah.
Olum.
I mean, Olum, just talk about that experience.
He probably has a picture with him personally, but he's not saying.
Walisema weka then niaje nyama choma tunasema niaje kale ugali.
No, man.
Kachubari.
That's you remember when I started, I said my parents had asked me if I had been to the States. That was my trump card.
Oh, okay.
Wait, you can't use that guy's name over here.
No, he means it in a nice way.
No.
No.
You have to change it.
No.
Let us see the Barack.
Okay. That was my joker.
Thank you. Hey, joker. Afadhali joker.
On Mike kuna PSD.
Ni ile mbaya.
Wewe uko na madhogodhanio za
ya kwende huyo.
Kwani you think it's nani? Yeah. Ule jama, this guy, when he hears the name, he switches and becomes a different guy.
Kainel. Lawrence, carry on.
Yeah, Lawrence, carry on.
No, I mean, it's like looking back now, you might, you think it's just whatever. But when you're in the moment, you just be like, it's an everyday thing. You think it's going to happen again. No, people go their lives never winning anything.
That is so
true. So for me to have that opportunity now, all the pictures, my mom was like, where's the picture? We need to frame it at the house. Kitambo was like, I'll get a chance to get another one. That chance never came, man. So those pictures now are hanging up on the wall. I talk about it like it's an accomplishment, man.
It is. It is. Once in a lifetime.
Nobody can ever take away from me. From Embakasi to the White House.
Wow.
Na sikuenda kuomba msaada.
Wow. And na ukupata brown envelope?
Nilikuwa invited. We were invited.
Okay.
That is something else. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Wow.
Yeah, that was very spectacular.
Uliongelesha Obama Kiswahili?
But then it's crazy. Wale watu wanafanya homework yao bana. He when we went to meet him, aliuliza, where's the Kenyan?
Yeah.
I mean, there's only one, right?
Yeah.
They better be goddamn.
Yeah.
Actually, only two, but
and Obama's team was very notorious for that. Any group that they were going to meet, they used to brief him, on very small details about the people that he's going to meet, which is very nice. Omano, you had a question.
Olum, I have two questions. One is we know every team has a diva. Hata hapa kwa studio OneMic ni diva wetu. So
Wow.
It's
no,
all
my question is, as a coach, right? As a coach, how do you balance that your issue, a team member needs of a kid who is, he's good, with needs the team? Like, how do you balance that issues? Like, this kid is good, but he has us issues like diva-ish, How do you balance that?
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, that's why they stopped calling these guys coaches. They're called managers now.
Yeah.
You just manage.
Yeah.
You manage egos. You manage everything. Like, because there's no way you're going to teach Cristiano how to pass the ball. No, you won't. You just have to manage everything that is around him. And that's what, even me now, that's what I'm learning. How do I manage kids who are not the greatest, but they're paying? How do I manage their parents? How do you manage the expectations and all that stuff? So with levels, it's different. When you're getting paid, somebody can be like, hey, if you don't perform, we're going to cut you.
Yeah.
Wow.
But there's some people, the owner will come and tell you, hey, we cannot cut him because he's bringing $1 gazillion.
Yeah.
Manage him.
Yeah.
So where as a coach,
Or will
what do
manage
you
you.
have to do? Oh yeah, you have to manage that.
Now, a follow-up question, but not really follow-up. It's more of like on a tangent. I'll go on a tangent a little bit. You're retired from the MLS. Growing up, I was a huge fan wa Shabana, Najua Moshe atasema hapa ni juu mimi.
No, boss. Shabana was a very good team.
I know.
We will not take that away from Shabana.
Motego.
It's good you mentioned Motego. Now,
Nyamira yako tumeiona. Endelea.
Now, it's good you mentioned Motego. So there's this picture that's making rounds on the internet. Yeah,
Is that thing
yeah,
real?
yeah, Motego. I don't know. I'm not sure. Let's say it could be real. Maybe.
Okay.
It could be real.
So Mjengo.
Yeah. So as a retired player, right? We see this a lot, especially speaking of just Kenya. We see a lot. Kina
Peter Dao.
Peter Dao.
Yeah.
All these retired greats.
Kadenge.
Yeah. People who just it's like they were forgotten. Now I was say, have you ever thought, have you had a thought cross your mind on how can we help, elevate, just help these dudes? What can be done? Just your thoughts. It doesn't have to be, and Polo kwa sport.
No problem. The thing is, the examples we're giving, it's a hard thing to start thinking about those guys because those guys played in the 80s, where in the 80s, players were not making anything.
Yeah.
So all they have
benefits,
is the
glory.
name.
Fame and the glory.
Yes.
That's just, look at it right now. Even looking at NBA, how many players do you know after they finished playing went bankrupt and nowhere right now?
But they try to limit
and
it.
these guys, and these guys make millions.
Yeah,
so
they made a lot of money.
As an association, the Alianza, like, you have to do, before somebody manages your money, has to be certified by the NBA.
Yeah,
have to
put
be,
this aside and all of that. Yeah, help you.
And this
Kuna
is,
pension and all of that.
Yeah, and this is an organization that have been there for years. Now, Mianza too, not too long ago, 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, can we do something to help them? Maybe, but how can they help themselves? For example, if today I had a team, because we called him, can Motego coach that team to the level where I think
No, he can't.
I can lead? You see what I mean?
No, I don't think he can. Yeah.
Even Mimi as a person right now, nobody ever makes. What do they say? Whenever you, as an athlete, the money you're making while you're playing, you're always going to make more when you're playing. When you're done playing,
nothing is
substantially inaendanga.
Yeah.
After Ronaldo Leo, he could be making $200 million a year, right? the day he will stop, hiyo 200 million ya kucheza itapotea. He might make 700 million from other things.
Yeah.
But there's that 200 million that is always
Gone.
going to be missing because he's not playing anymore.
Yeah.
Those are very bad examples to give
Right.
because there's not that many Ronaldos, the Messis, and the guys who make a shitload of money. Sisi watu wa average. The thing we can do is maybe try to help ourselves. Because me, I went on a coaching course. I went to school. Like, I can do other things. But the thing is, you use the platform that you have to build yourself to where you can get the next thing. So if somebody comes in and be like, oh, I'm looking for a coach, I'll be like, yeah, I can coach. Do I have everything that needs me to get there? I do. So that's how you survive, man.
Awesome,
But
man.
but you know, Jemo, I think my thought on it, just to answer you real quick, and maybe Lawrence can chime in at some point, is, you know, like the way in Parliament they've set up kind of like a pension type fund, for the guys who, in fact, I think there was a time when these guys who are from, I think even going back to members of Parliament when Moi was about maybe 90. Or even some
who did one term, even in the 80s,
who did one
I think.
term.
Yeah.
Those guys were eligible for pensions, and there were some people who are kind of like suing or trying to, you know, to get paid off of that pension thing. And I think the qualification was like you had to do either 2 terms or something like that for you to.
So it was
to
2
get-
terms. I think they wanted to reduce it down to 1
yes,
term.
to 1 term, because
Yeah.
kuna wale waliona these guys used to be either our colleagues or served the country. Now wako mbaya juu walikuwa natengeneza hiyo do, and then saa wamefika mahali mbaya, and us guys tuko na hizi benefits na it's a 2-term serving thing. So let's try to reduce it to one term so we can cover these other extra, I think 100 guys or something like that, which was going to be maybe another 400 million or something like that. So they can cover these guys in pension. Now, if we have structures like that are set up for folks who have served the country, you put yourself out as an athlete. So some sort of pension. I think, to me, I think it's only fair. But maybe I'm overstretching, and maybe somebody might say, pana, you just volunteer for your country and you go out there and you break your limbs or you do whatever it is that you're supposed to do for the country. Now, we don't look out for you on the back end.
But real quick.
Okay, question for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those guys, politics in Kenya is crazy. While they're looking out for themselves.
Correct.
But when you go to a team like the US, the US national team actually makes money. They make money. They sell their TV rights. They so
merchandise, all of
for
that,
because they actually made money.
Yeah.
So in Kenya, how many of these players actually made money for whatever they were playing for?
No, they just got stipends during that duration when you are when you are playing.
So
that's it.
And then the government will be like, where do we get this money to pay you come from? So unless the people who
and
are
that's what I'm saying. Maybe structures should be set up, right?
It's a very good way to think, you know. But at the same time, where we are, right?
It has to be sustainable.
Kenya,
You know, you're right.
so
It has to be sustainable, but it can be set up. It's not like it can't.
But let me also say something now. Me now speaking as a financial professional. So maybe the Kenyan national team or the league maybe is not making money as such, but then we sometimes see this problem even with players who are in leagues that were making money, players who are making good money. And this is one thing that I've noticed about people who are in sports that I've worked with on the financial side. There's one quality, you know, and I think I've talked to you guys privately about it. There's one quality that sports people have that's one of the worst qualities when it comes to financial management. So I want you to pay attention to this, Lawrence, because maybe you've never heard this from someone else before. Sports people are by nature very competitive. They are very competitive, you know, like in the game that they're playing and even in other things. Hata kama mnacheza karata, you know, like they'll be like, no, you'll beat them like 10 times, but they'll be like, apana, turudi tena, I have to beat you. They are very competitive. So the problem is that when you bring this quality to money management, it can be very disastrous. Money management is one of those areas where, as a sports person, you have to be comfortable with that I don't have to do better than Omosh. or I don't have to do better than Uno. But as long as I'm doing better than I was doing last year, so it's
then I'm on the right
very,
path,
it's usually very, very difficult to bring them to that point. Mtu wa sports, kumwambia achana na Bitcoin. And they're seeing that other people are making a killing.
Tons of money.
It's very hard. It's very hard to explain, and that's the reason why you see people like Usain Bolt right now. Usain Bolt is in a fix. I don't know exactly what happened to him, but I think it's one of those situations where he gave his money to someone who he felt could maybe like double that money quick.
bank.
No,
it was a money manager.
No, it was a money manager.
Ni wale wase wa kuongeza nini ile chemical kwa nini?
It was a get rich quick scheme.
SVB bank.
Yeah, you know, like it was something entirely different. So this is one thing that I think maybe the NBA and the NFL are doing a better job now in trying to school.
Yeah, they school you on everything, on money matters and all that, but still.
Because you're seeing, because you're also seeing some very smart decisions from athletes right now, especially people like LeBron James and even Kevin Durant. You're seeing them making some very smart money moves, which wasn't very normal previously. But your competitiveness when it comes to money management is what makes athletes who are earning, you know, like very decent salaries to get to a point where they're retired and they have nothing to show for it.
What's that dude wa Golden State? Not
Steph Curry.
No, the other one.
Klay Thompson.
Clay Thompson. Yeah. I think the dad played in the NBA.
I think Steph Curry's dad played in the NBA.
Both. Yeah.
Both. Yeah.
So there was this time Jamal alikuwa anasema, you know, my dad is the one who manages my money, blah blah blah. You know, he gives me $300 as a pesa ya mfuko.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, like, you know, this kid, when he finishes his career, jamaa atakuwa na kakitu.
Yeah, he'll be very good.
You know, there's somebody.
Inategemea na vile ule jamaa alinunua maploti za Nyamira.
No, he'll do very well.
If you have somebody watching over
you need to have three people. The guy who manages, then there's a guy who watches him, then there's a guy who's watching the guy who's watching. And so that there's never ever collusion.
But there's something very simple with money. It's so simple, yet most people don't respect it. The gravity of money is that the people who become wealthy are not necessarily the ones who earn the most, but the people who save the most out of what they earn. Because if you're earning $300K a year and you're spending $290K a year, and I'm earning $90K a year and I'm spending $40K a year, it will take a very short time for me to become much wealthier than you. So I think that's where the concept of you know, like giving yourself, you know, like you consider, you know, like the money that you're investing, you consider that your profit. You run your money like a corporation. You know, like the money that you need to pay your rent and to do your basics, that's what you pay yourself with, and then the rest, it goes out there and it grows. And I think that's the and with athletes sometimes, especially in this American sports, there's a thing of trying to show that I have the bigger house,
entourage,
I have the better car, I have the entourage. Those things,
Jamorant. But you see, even before you go to Jamorant, there was this kid I think he played for the Detroit Lions, football player, NFL. I think he had signed a very good contract, but he was paying himself a year's salary or a yearly salary of about 72,000.
And that's
that's what he was paying himself.
His salary,
yes,
whatever he's being paid, but he's getting paid. He's paying him like
so
salary,
he was like, I will live on 72, no matter what. Yes,
70,000.
That's
black kid.
Player. Alan Iverson. Alan Iverson, him is documented. Jamaa alienda ni child support. Anaambia judge, boss, hata $5 za McDonald's sina. You know,
but he had money.
But when he was playing, shida ilikuwa ni entourage.
But he had money though. Do you know how he ended up having money? Alikuwa na deal na ya Reebok. Na wase wa Reebok, hiyo deal vile likupigwa structure, walisema we will keep X amount on the back end. So hizo do ndio zilikuja zikasaidiana. Lawrence is right. Lawrence knows exactly what he's talking about. He lost all the other money that he played for, but because he had the shoe deal with Reebok, the money was being paid on the back end once he retired.
Once he got to 50 years old?
Yes,
Yeah, something like that.
that's when he
Yeah.
could pull that money out.
Somebody watching over you. Somebody mtu
And
mwenye-
that's what helped him. But Izodo, he signed over to his ex. It was kind of part of their divorce agreement, even though Sasa she's still looking out for him. But she was going to get, because kulikuwa na ka clause
Yeah.
kwa Izodo. Vile Izodo zitatumika. But yes.
That's a story for another day.
Yeah.
Ama kama vile Slea anasema huu ni
Ama nani,
kama huyu wa
O.J.
Morocco, bibi yake asidivorce halafu aulize half the money. I think she's talking about Hakimi. This story that's
Hakim,
that's
Lakini,
trending.
Is it true though? I'm not.
No,
sure.
it's true.
It is.
No, it's a true story, and you know, like just coming from a Muslim culture, that's
Hakim Gani, Hakim.
that's not unusual. It's not unusual for someone to sign up that money to
To the mom.
the mom. You know, like it's not quite an unusual thing. But I think he signed quite a big chunk of his wealth. I think there's something that he knew that about this situation that he was in, on him actually.
Unasema
doing that.
he had foresight.
I think there's something that he knew, and I think this is a different conversation.
Totally different.
It's a different conversation which we can have another day on why
Money matters Muslim.
Yes, on why you know, like.
But
people,
we can have Lawrence chime in and see if he has signed over his money.
Maybe he's got he could be a Muslim. You never know.
No, actually, Lawrence, you know, like, because we've kept you for so long, maybe give us your parting shot, your advice, and just maybe.
This is a long conversation.
yeah.
Because I think this cannot really do justice, because we have not really followed his career, because you haven't even like talked about his stints at let's say, for example, you know, how he moved from Kansas to Portland. Then he also became a journeyman. Those are the things that I would be curious.
Na bao ingine alifunga kazi kwa Portland ikakuwa ESPN Goal of the Week. Hebu mwambie kupigia.
I see, unaona, you see things that we are missing out. Hiyo ya Portland ilikuwaje? Goal.
Hata sikumbuki ni gani. Unajua kushafunga mabao mingi.
Java trying to be humble.
Trying to be humble.
But whom shall he tell?
But us, but now he has the platform. He has the platform now to tell us.
Yeah. But sasa Olum, you know, like kumalizia, like especially to the parents who have these talented kids, because one thing that I've learned, you know, like from you said you could build a team with 25 kids of people you just know that will be a very amazing Kenyan team. So what's your advice to especially the parents? Because I think a lot of parents equal buyer, but sometimes people just don't have that knowledge of grooming and managing talent of a child who has been spotted very early.
And don't forget, you have a parent coach over here. Maybe he can be given some advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much.
No,
very
first thing we say, Mani, as parents, we should try not to live the lives we want through our kids. That's one.
Vicarious.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
Because sometimes you're thinking, you want to be your kid, and maybe sometimes you want to push your kid, like you put into places that he doesn't want to be. One, but musema in Swahili wanasema kizuri cha jiuza.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kibaya cha jitembeza.
Ndio. If your kid is nice, you won't even have to say anything. You will know. Even people will tell you. So as a parent, once people start telling you that,
Max.
find places that will challenge them, and then you will find out. But if they're good at what they do, then you'll know, and then that's when you have to give them a chance, man. Maybe I was given a chance by my parents, which I'm very grateful for. At where I was, they put me at the best place that they could, and the rest was up to me to try to make it better.
So did you build them a big house? I'm just asking for a friend because you know.
So unajua mambo ya Kenya. Eh? Lazima ujenge hao.
Hawaishi nje.
There you go.
Hawaishi nje.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, because
So,
like there's also a lot of pressure that comes on the kids because I've seen, like parents also pushing kids, and the kids are doing it now for the parents and not for themselves.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Black.
Boss, nakwambia kwanza rec league. Lord Jesus Jehovah. Iyo, it's a whole. You can literally see that this dude, jamaa anakaa ameongeza kawa like 300 pounds. Like, huyu jamaa is trying to live what he wished he did through his kid. Yelling, shouting.
Or what he
from
did
the
in high school.
Or rather, yeah, like yelling. Mpaka nasema like you need to calm down. You're not the coach. I'm the coach.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me tell this
Yes.
kid what
When
to
you
do.
come here,
Yeah.
I am the one running this.
Yeah,
You hand
yeah,
over
man.
to me.
Can I give you a secret that I always do?
Yeah. By all means,
Go ahead.
by all means.
Hey, I always tell the kid, you're not going to play until your dad stops yelling.
Oh, okay.
And then the kid will go and tell the dad, hey, if you stop yelling, then I can play. If you don't,
Managing emotions.
unaona mtu anakimbia anaambia baba yake nyamaza ba.
Mimi nakwambia
Ndio nicheze.
their parents mpaka unasikia kill him. I'm like, are you
But it's
actually
just
kidding me?
they're kids.
What
are they killing?
It's interesting. The late Kobe, there was a time when he was saying he's so surprised, and this is the great Kobe Bryant. He's saying he's so surprised when he sees, like kids very young being forced to play only one sport. Because like in their generation, most of them played different sports. Now I'm learning that Olum alikuwa ni msewa bake pia. Kuna mtu mwingine hapa anasema pia alikuwa ni mnoma volleyball. So you see now, Kobe used to play ball. He used to play a lot of soccer.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people that you see in the NFL, some of them played baseball, some of them played basketball.
On
LeBron,
your off season of whatever you played the other
play that
sport.
sport.
Yes.
LeBron played as a wide receiver. He played football, like in high school. But then, like Kobe was concerned when he was saying that he's seeing all these parents, push kids at a very young age that this is the only thing that you can do. When kids are at a stage where they're trying to discover themselves.
Yeah.
Find something.
Actually, they need to
And
go
try to find themselves,
Yeah.
and I think that's something that that parents need to be aware of before you start, pushing your kids into things that that they don't necessarily want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, Lawrence,
Parting shot, Baba.
parting shot, sasa.
Man,
Asante.
thank you very much for having me. This is one of the first times I've ever actually had to do this in an audience of Kenyans,
Wow.
Wow.
through the many years. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the show very much. I calmly always just watch you guys and, take what I need to from you guys. So it's always entertaining and I enjoy the show very much, man. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for
Thank you.
gracing us with your presence.
Thank you. Yep.
Thank you so much.
If you ever need me to come in again, let me know.
Absolutely.
Utajua ujui. Utajua ujui.
Gesto wengine sasa.
Maybe who was the other guy that
The other player, David Kenga.
Kenga,
Yes.
fanya hiyo connection.
So we need also David Kenga's
Very
story.
fast.
Yes.
Kesho.
Kwanza
Hata
mtumie
sasa
hii.
nikimwambia ataona.
Mutumie hii kwanza.
I'll let him know.
Yeah, and there are so many other, like Kenyans who are doing big things. The problem with Upper State, and I think it's also the problem with social media globally. It's the most negative things that get amplified.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the most negative things that get amplified. Unasikia ati even though vile watu state wanafanya. Even though vile watu wanaishi. Yet there are people who were silently having, like professional sporting careers. There are people who are silently, have careers in places like NASA, just doing, like quite amazing things, but not being that loud. And I think it's our responsibility to shout for them. I mean, it's so disappointing. It's great that we've been able to cover Lawrence, but it's also so disappointing that in Kenya we have very robust media.
Yeah.
But all these 20 years that Lawrence has been here in the US, none of them ever thought that this may be an interesting story. Like we have a Kenyan who's playing in Major League Soccer in the US. He's won a title. He's gone to the White House, met Obama.
Titles.
Yeah, he's won. He's won.
Thank you, thank you,
Yes,
thank
he's
you,
won
thank
titles.
Omera,
Yes, there you go. He's won titles.
What is Omera?
Yeah.
Recognition.
Yeah. And I think for me personally, that's one of the big projects that I think I want to have when I get to that point of financial independence, is just dig out these stories that are typically not covered by mainstream
And
because they don't have sensation.
the untold stories.
The untold
They
stories,
don't have
yes.
sensational. There is no what is it called?
There's no sensation.
There's no
But you see,
Hakuna
yes.
mtu ati alikuwa na mabebi mama watatu
Yes,
na nini
yes,
vitu
yes,
kama
yes.
hizo hapo.
But you
Because those are the stories that the media likes.
But you see, there, unfortunately, very many stories will always be untold. Very many.
Mhm.
Now, for the first time in I don't know how many years, Lawrence's story is being told today. Ameingia MLS, ameshinda. In fact, if anything, at some point in time, when there was when guys were going to when he was going to the State House to Kerea, uko White
White House, yeah.
as a champion, MLS, people should have been there
Yes.
to document and then start that story where journey lianzaje, such that there's already career, and if for anyone who else wants to be there's this guy who has done this or whatever, that's because that can open doors. It's going to open doors, right? But we are telling his story, funny enough, 20 years later.
Kenya's ambassador for sports.
Unaget, a guy who you would have thought for the longest time, why did he not be in the Harambee Stars? There's only one game, maybe your Comoros game, but nobody can say, you know what, I know Olum played for Kenya. Not unless maybe, let's say, his parents went and they saw the game or whatever. But there's nothing nothing iconic enough to say, enyewe kulikuwa na msee anaitwa sijui Lawrence na huyo alienda wapi, right? Same thing with like Jabali Africa, the most successful Kenya, upper America, touring.
The US, yeah.
But people don't know the guys. Maybe within the music world, but people do not know about Jabali. It's only when they come here, they've done this, and you hear the collabos they have done, you're like, these guys have done this, Damian Marley, you're like, what? Sasa, tunasikia kuna mzee alishinda Kenyan,
Wrote songs for Kenyan.
Yeah.
Now you hear somebody here who ameshinda MLS Cup, ameshinda everything except for CONCACAF. You're like, wait, how come we have not heard about this guy? Because if, let's say, for example, he was at Kansas Sporting, like guys would have probably Wakenya huko wana support. If he goes to Portland, wanaenda huko.
Yes.
They're like, this is our guy.
What was Seattle?
Jazzy, like, and that is, and I think sometimes, like I said, I think even before the show started, like, our media really lets us down. Our national media in Kenya, like, even when it comes to sports, they let us down.
I'm a
because-
siasa, my friend.
Yeah, it's just.
Ah,
I know.
Lakini,
but your flowers unazipata kadhe, upende usipende.
Asante.
Piggybacking
Thank you
on-
very much.
Piggybacking on what OneMic is saying, well, there's this adage where it goes like, until the lion picks up a pen, you know, the narrative will always favor the hunter, because the hunter will always, it will always be the hunter's story. It's not so it's up to us to talk about
Kabisa.
to talk about ourselves. It's up to us to write stories.
To write our own stories.
Our own narratives have to be defined by us, of the people who have actually uplifted us. Kina Olum. Me, I didn't know anything about you. I'm just shocked.
Honor. Please don't speak anymore.
Lakini unajua ni
No, hapa,
No,
you
no,
know.
no, wewe ongea, wachana
Oh,
huyu.
sorry. Okay,
Wacha
endelea.
malize.
Endelea.
Saba.
Okay, endelea.
So lazima be very truthful. Me, when Mike sent me, I was like, hey boss, you know, this guy in Colombia, hey, me, you know what? I'll come. You know? Because
Thank
we seldom hear, we seldom see people of your caliber, you know. But you are us. You know? You are us. So I wish and I pray that maybe platform yenyu kina OneMic, we can start talking more of people, you know, our people, you know, people who are doing big things like Olum. Me, I appreciate this, honestly.
You know, we've been trying our best, you know, like and we are only one platform.
Yeah.
We'd love to see other platforms also do this. We tried our best to get Kenyans who are doing movies, Kinashiro Yunis. You know, like we tried our best, you know, just to get Kenyans who are doing spectacular things out here.
Right.
And if you know
there's
any
more
of
stories,
them,
there's more stories to tell. There's a lot
need to
more
be
stories
told.
to
Yeah.
tell.
Yes.
Yeah,
that need to be
you know,
told,
you know,
yes.
and if you notice, like especially this year, late last year, you know, like we've taken a different tangent. You know, I know Kenyans wanapenda politics, but we go politics when it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
You know, like when the country's on the brink, maandamano. You know, like Kenya enda kuungua, then we have to talk then we have to talk about it, and then also we know that, and then we know next year is gonna be an election year in the US, so that's another thing that also cannot be ignored. But we've tried to have a balance.
Right.
You know, like whereby, you know, we're not only covering politics, but also we are not ignoring politics, because at the end of the day, it's politics that has enabled America, for example, to have good programs, to have college programs, to have programs that sometimes get funding. There's all different kinds of funding that came from legislation in the Congress, whereby you have to fund this, and that. There's some funding that comes from the state. There's some funding that comes from local jurisdictions. These nice fields that you see, those fields that you're seeing close to where you live, that are sometimes empty, this is funding from county governments and local jurisdictions. And these are the things that maybe
taxpayers
we need for these conversations to bring out.
And those are what we vote for as well.
Yeah, so that we know
those referendums.
how we can improve the situation back home. Yeah. So Lawrence, asante sana. You know, like I don't even know, you know, like how many more flowers we can give you, and this story is gonna be listened to so many people.
Yes,
it's gonna be listened by so many people, especially the kids. And it's gonna be so inspiring to them.
My son has to watch it.
Yes, it's gonna be so inspiring to them. It will make them more confident.
Correct.
And it will tell them if this guy came from. We came from Embakasi, you know, like, and he was 2 weeks away from being denied a chance of coming to the US.
No, he had been denied. More than 2 weeks away, he had been denied.
He had been denied a chance. It was a wrap.
This was plan B without knowing it was B.
Wow.
He didn't even know there's a plan B, but it just happened to be
it was plan B without him knowing it was B.
Yes.
Nani amesoma, nani amepata, nani amefanya hivi,
Yes.
watu wanne.
So I think what those kids were having challenges, what a scary story, and they're like, damn, I mean, this guy was just there, and this could have blown up, and we don't know what would have happened had he not come to the US. Maybe he would never have played ball.
But also remember, like, who is this Lawrence Olum? Because now that's another story.
Yes.
Another, just quickly, you know, Olum, you want to roll out. Our kids, us being Kenyans, you know, our kids are first generation of Kenyan Americans, right? Having role models that are, you know, looked up, you know, by our kids, by, you know, corner, like, this is somebody who is just like my dad, just like my mom.
Yes.
You know, who has done X, Y, Z, who has really, you know, really achieved this high, whatever. It's really...
It's a big deal.
Our kids will, in a way, at some point, they might struggle with identity. You know, not all of them, but some of them. You know, so Kwambia, like, you know, see all the time LeBron James, or whatever. Yeah, you can like, but they're also these Kenyans who have achieved this much, you know, and this is who they are, you know.
Yes.
It's important. So my sons, even my daughter, has to watch this, and it won't be like, you know, this is a Kenyan who has won the MLS league, went even to the State House, to
the White House.
Was the same as State House.
We can even call it State House now.
Yeah. So me, I'm stoked. I'm happy for you, dude.
And
I'm
you
really
know,
happy for you.
Eliud Kipchoge will keep jogging on Monday in Boston.
Oh yeah, in Boston.
That's another guy.
I think they should change the name of that to Kipchoge Marathon.
Kipchoge Marathon.
Which one?
Well,
The
like-
Boston?
Akishinda.
Akishinda, ashaishinda. I mean, like, the question is by how much?
Yani nyinyi
Dude is a legend.
Ashaishinda.
by the way,
Everyone
what we
number
supposed to
three
be going to
na
Boston?
I don't know about you guys. Me, hey. Mi najua mi wasiwangoji.
Are you saying that you're
Aye.
going? No.
Anyway,
Are you saying that you're going?
let-
Because unajua ukisema
let-
ngwe,
let's have
some
a
of us
conversation.
some of us can take meetings
boss,
from Boston.
Where boss?
Let's have a conversation. You might
attend.
Okay, you might attend.
attend. You might attend conversation.
You need to,
Boston is happening this Monday.
Yes.
You know-
Listen.
Boston Marathon, yes.
Bro,
Kipchoge,
bro.
yes. Sorry.
hii meeting
Yes.
you may attend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amechapa final career.
Hata tumpatie final ya final sasa.
Final shots, whatever kadhe, because huyu msema ni confused.
Sorry.
Lawrence, tuchapie final parting shot baba. Because this is part one.
Yes, anything you want to tell us, the organization, people contribute, blah, blah, is of it.
I think
No, just let's keep doing what we're doing. You know, whatever part nyinyi mnafanya to tell stories like this, I will do my part when, you know, given the opportunity. Not even here, but even the teams that I'm coaching, I'm actually the first persons nilita kwa team yangu are like Kenyans like me, because that was the team that I played for and put me on the platform where I was. So everybody does their little bit, and then that helps brings us the community together. So thank you very much, and appreciate everything, man.
Thank you so much.
Shukran, man.
Asante
Uno.
sana.
Acha niwatoke.
wahenga walinena kilicho na mwanzo hakina budi kuwa na mwisho. Meli imetia nanga. We are about to wrap this puppy up. Jemo, Doctare.
Oh, it's me?
Yeah, we start with you.
Okay.
Then we'll go to Micah, then Omosh.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey,
and don't talk too much.
I'm always struck the fact that you know, OneMic, you guys let me come here and rant a little bit. Like this was a good show. You know, it's not often me personally as I coach youth soccer to actually meet a Kenyan mwenye amecheza MLS, ameshinda MLS Cup. It's huge. I'm really happy, and the fact that I can show my kids, not only my sons but also my daughter. You know, let's not forget peer daughters. They need to get those encouragement. Na kuona somebody just like me, mtu alitoka Kenya, has done all these things. So I'm really just happy for that. Apart from that, you know, I don't have much. The Tupi Omosh, your boy.
Any projects? Should we be looking for a plot kule juu ya nini mlima?
Mika kadhe, tugende.
Wewe jamaa ilisha milima hapa ni gani za pata mlima.
We Mikasi uache kuongea hivyo.
Mzee natuonea.
Yes. No, unajua naongea pali yuko mbali, si ndio? But an hour and a half in 2 we are there.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Ni sawa tu. Kadhe tuende.
Thanks to us.
Tudhie.
Boss, tutaonana in 3 weeks tuone kama utaniambia hivi. Anyway.
Ma challenges.
Sasa anaongea na kifua. Tutamngojea lale alafu tukate nywele kama ni Samson.
Kwanza unanyoa cross. Yes. Unanyoa X. Hana budi but aende kwa kinyozi.
Mwadhani.
Akwe restore to factory settings.
Na unatumia peroxide ndio ingie vizuri.
Aya, Vika kaa chonjo brother. Kaa chonjo brother.
Ndio sawa tu mwenye anasema hivyo ni kama hana dread, nitanyoa sako katikati ya kichwa.
Banta mazee. Sawa.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's been another wonderful happy hour. Yeah, OneMic amesema back closed. I want to really thank our listeners leo. Mazocha nikwambia kitu moja wamefanya. Kama umesomea chat, wamejientertain leo, wameongea, wamecontribute. Leo tujasoma comments ndio soma. But they've been in touch with the conversation. They've had that conversation, kept it running huko kando. Thank you, Sana. You actually just make us want to continue doing this, and that's Santini. It's a weekend. Enjoy yourselves. As I always say, don't drink and drive. And Boston Marathon. Kipchoge avunja record, and Biri also to win it with the record. Remember, the race is on Monday. Cheer it wherever you are. Don't forget to watch. Monday morning usifanye job sana, ona marathon. By saa 3 utakuwa umemaliza marathon, saa 4 urudi kazi. Alright, back to you in the studio.
Asante Mika, asante Mikasi as usual. We can't wait 3 weeks. We are counting down. Is this the time when we say we're not going to have the show? Okay, anyway. No, okay, we won't say that. So, Lawrence, I don't even know where to start or where to stop. Thank you for gracing us with your presence, giving us your time, the words of encouragement, especially to parents of these young Kenyan Americans who are navigating the sports circle. They now have someone they can look up to, who they can reach out and actually touch, who's like them. That's so important, especially for these kids of ours that we have huku siku hizi. I pray and hope that somebody in State House is going to call you back and give you something like ile elder of the burning spear.
Elder of the burning spear.
That's something he needs to be given. I don't know. There's one that's given to sportsmen, and I think it's that. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I think it's EBS, Indio. Because I think it's EBS. But anyway,
watapatia Githeri man.
Yani, this guy he's killed it. Yani, I was even in the middle.
No, but
Cut flow almost.
But
Sorry.
unajua,
but unfortunately, that's true. Those are the people who get awards.
Yeah.
You get an award for holding Githeri on a line
I hope
while waiting to vote.
Lawrence needs to be given his flowers while he's here with us.
Yeah.
Somebody in the sports ministry, Ninani Ababu, you need to call this chap, bring him in, give him his due. Because he deserves it. He's worked hard and he's flying the Kenyan flag juu without being paid for it, because he's a proud Kenyan, just like we all are, and we all fly that flag. So you need to realize, if you guys are watching, which I know you guys watch, munafaa kufanya what needs to be done. With that said, enjoy your weekend. Don't forget to hug your loved ones. Enjoy the company of those who you have. You know, I'm here with my brothers. You know, this is our Kamkunji na pia nyinyi watu mko hapo, our listeners. Thank you for supporting us. And hopefully Ali will try to get to some comments as he's wrapping up. And kwa hayo machache, tuonane wiki ijao.
All right, asante sana Omosh. Asante sana Daktari Omanwa for coming through. Or like today we'll call you a football coach, because you're also a football coach. And your contribution was definitely very valuable in this conversation that we had tonight. And a big shout out to all our listeners. Leo nimeona listeners kawaida miwa siwaoni. Asante sana Don Omar family, namona mpaka pia Ali Abdullahi Nasir family. You know, like this is very good, which shows that this conversation is very important. Asanteni sana for tuning in. And Slay is saying Afro-Jamaican was on Facebook today. Allah, I don't know, or is he the one who? Okay. Now we know. Afro-Jamaican is
Kaiser Soze.
Yes, but that's another person that we need to bring on the show.
Kaiser Soze, Afro-Jamaican, please.
Yeah, Afro-Jamaican.
Oh, sorry. Let us get in the inbox.
Yes, we need to bring him on the show, because
Afro-Jamaican.
He's Afro-Jamaican is a Jamaican in Canada who tunes into the OneMic show. He invests in Kenya. He's actually invested in Kenya, and when he speaks, we have so much encouragement, because he sometimes has more hope for Kenya than some Kenyans have.
Than we do.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think
awesome.
So I think that's a big thing. So Afro-Jamaican tutakuja kuongea vizuri. And then of course Lawrence Olum, you know, asante sana. I don't even know how much more I could thank you.
Thank you, Micah, for setting this up.
Yes, asante sana Micah. Micah, we can't yes, and Micah is the one who made this possible. Asante sana Micah for this. Asante sana Lawrence Olum. We're going to have you back. We're going to have David Kenga, and we're also going to have all these multiple different sports people who've been silently making their mark in professional leagues in the US, and give them their flowers.
Make a work to you.
Yes,
work
make a kazi kwako.
Kazi kwako kadhe.
Na kwa wale ambao bado wanataka kunipigia simu, nambari yangu haijabadilika, bado ni ile ile 1-800 mteule. Na operator akishika simu, mwambie unataka kusema na mjukuu. Na akikuuliza ni mjukuu yupi, mkumbushe ni mjukuu yule wa Masai. Because I'm Kenyan by blood, American by design, Masai by choice. Sichagui, sikagui na sibagui. Kwaherini.
Aiden, daddy loves you. Jerry, daddy loves you. Nemo, daddy loves you. Until next week, be blessed. Machachari Bodabos.
Kinyozi hapa hakuna kunyalewa na deni, hapa kazi tu hakuna utiaji, mwenzako akinyolewa chakotia maji. Wow, boy, ini reggae ya kinyozi.